You got talent, you gotta be able to attract them, because if you're not gonna attract them, they're gonna all be down in Houston. Now, have you solved that now, or are you under control? Or-
Probably retired.
So you're young, I understand what you're saying, you're young.
Go get coffee. That's the plan.
Line unmuted.
Oh, well, glad you can make it, Michael.
That's not okay.
Good to see you too.
It's about 6 o'clock. We'll stand for the prayer. Father in heaven, we come now thanking you for life, health, and strength. God blessing your name. So that we worthy to be blessed. We come, Father, right now, the mind to do right and to serve our community. Bless you, Father, for your goodness and your mercy. We thank you for those that are here, Father, that they will get what they need, not necessarily what they want. But Father, say in your hand, we're going to leave it in your hand. And as we petition you, Father, for everything we do, whatever the results may be, we're going to be pleased. For we know it's in your will, and your will be done. These blessings and all of the blessings we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Conference line has been set up, and the number is 1-917-900-1022. The access code is 32347#. This is not a toll-free number, and you may be subject to long-distance charges according to your long-distance plan. When the chairperson open the meeting for public comment, please follow the below instructions. If you wish to speak, dial 5. The moderator will unmute your line when it's your turn to speak and notify you by announcing the last 4 digits of your telephone number. Please announce your name and address, and you will be allowed to speak for 3 minutes. That being said, we go to number 3, approval of this agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second, all in favor saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, we go to number 4, the approval of the minutes of June 16, 2026 and June 29, 2026. We have one.
Commissioner, you want to do the whole consent item?
Okay,
If you do,
Okay.
I would like to ask a question on number 11, please.
okay. Consent agenda. You want to pull number 11 off and just ask the
No, I
question?
just want to ask a question.
Okay.
Okay,
We
so,
go to consent agenda then. All of you had a chance to look at it. Commissioner Spiegel got a question for one of them.
okay.
Go ahead.
On number 11, concerning the opioid funds and the request for more funding not to exceed $81,000, about 81,000. Is there, I did read where that they say there's a monthly report, but how do we get that report to see exactly how these funds are being spent?
So we have a subcontractor agreement with DMH for those particular funds. I submit a monthly invoice to NWF for the monthly amount. The additional funds is only like $1,100 because it's for last fiscal year, but it will carry over into this fiscal year. And then DMH has been updating the board about once a year.
Okay.
So the funding is for specific uses that's consistent with the implementation plan. And so whenever we have a new subcontractor agreement, I bring that implementation plan to the board as well.
Yeah, I'd just like a report on more often how they're being spent. I don't question that there's anything wrong. I just would like to see how, what programs is being supported and basically how's it going and, a little more detail.
How often would you?
Quarterly.
Okay.
That's all, thank you.
The one that you got that? Okay, that's for full report. Any other? If not that, what do I hear?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. You go to item 15. Item 15, the board to hold a public hearing on the passage of the proposed ordinance granting the economic development ad valorem tax exemption to the Roy Restaurant in Co-op. Set for this day at 6 p.m. or soon after. Therefore, as soon after as possible, the agenda by the county administrator.
So there was discussion on this item, I believe at the last meeting. There were several options the board discussed. In the meantime, the county attorney has prepared a draft ordinance. If you wish to make any changes to it, that is something that can be done after the meeting, and then we'll have the chairperson sign.
Go ahead, Mr. Bishop.
This is a public hearing on the prepared ordinance on Roy's Restaurant. Y'all instructed me to prepare the ordinance and prepare a notice of hearing. The one thing that I want y'all to, there's a blank that needs to be filled in this ordinance. And what it is go to page 1 of the proposed ordinance. This is where Roy's Restaurant anticipates a minimum of blank in capital investment at the Steinhatchee Restaurant during the next number of years. That needs to be filled in. They need to let us know about that. And then also, whereas Roy's Restaurant anticipates a minimum of blank quality jobs for the number of years that you do it. And then the last one is need to fill in the total amount of revenue available to Taylor County from ad valorem tax for the current year. It's lost by doing that. And then you need to determine what percentage you're going to allow if you pass the ordinance and for how many years it would be. So that's why you have a public hearing to determine those, to fill in those blanks.
Okay. So now, we're supposed to be having a public hearing now. Okay, the floor is open for public hearing from the public. Does anyone want to speak to or for or against? Allowing Roy to receive ad valorem abatement.
We need to read it by title, really, or need to read it by.
Okay, you want to read that, Mr. Bishop? Do we have
A motion to read by title only.
a motion second, read by title only, Mr. Bishop?
That's an ordinance granting an economic development ad valorem tax exemption to Roy's Restaurants, Inc. Corporation for the state of Florida, specifying the items exempted, providing an expiration date for the exemption, finding that the business meets the requirements of Florida statute 196.012, providing for proof of eligibility for exemption, providing a requirement for an annual report, and providing for severability and providing an effective date. Y'all remember, we've done this in the
Yes.
past, and determined, most important thing, I suppose, is to determine what percentage and for how long. And of course, the restaurant needs to give us the other, issues that are blanks in the proposed ordinance.
They need to do that tonight, or they need to bring it back to us at another
I
meeting?
was thinking they'd be ready to do it because they came in and said that, they wanted to get it done as soon as possible, and that's what I did. So I think we need to hear from the Roy's Restaurant, what their proposal is.
Okay, now open for a public meeting.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You want from the public? Go ahead. Done?
Yeah, thank you. Jim Zerber from Steinhatchee. I think, but I wasn't at the meeting where you guys came up with the numbers, but I was here when some other folks have been trying to get abatements. But, a little history. Roy's Restaurant, Patty and I came here in 1979. And all the people that we know, my neighbors, people that were born and raised, had generational employment at Roy's. Long before Linda became owner, the Kerry Georges had it. It goes way back. It's historically one of the oldest places. I mean, Roy's is well known. You're coming from Jacksonville, people, you know, when it comes to Steinhatchee, they always ask about Roy's. So it is a landmark, okay? They are gonna bring jobs. Obviously, when you try to get seated at Roy's, you know what the parking lot's like. Okay, so economically, it's a win-win. I don't know what that number is. If you gotta put a number in there, that's for their past performance to, you know, come forth, and they could probably have that. But I think that most everybody in the community wants to see them get something that's really beneficial. Not a minimum. Don't know, you guys set the maximum, but they definitely need to be taken care of. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Is there anybody here from Roy's?
Okay.
I wasn't making you talk, but.
Good evening, I'm Linda Wicker at Steinhatchee Roy's Restaurant, and I've asked Mr. Cates to speak on my behalf. I don't do a good job of this, but he's got all the numbers.
I don't know if I do a very good job either, but I'm honored to speak on behalf of Roy's Restaurant, just like I did on June 16th. TCDA's board, under its authority, recommended 5 years and 50%. We shared what those numbers were. I don't have them in front of me now, but it was something on the order of
So it's a $3.5 million capital
$3.5 million capital investment,
And I think-
20 full-time employees, 12 part-time employees. Seafood purchased on our own Gulf Coast and out of our own county wherever possible. The board completely supported that and could have done, for those who weren't here, a 0 to 100, 0 to 10 years, and the board came up with 50% for 5 years. In this meeting, at that time, there were conversations about, was that the right amount? I'm just reminding for me, since like Jim, I appreciate your comments, that might not have heard. It was kind of like 5 and 50, and then there was, how about 110, or, 10 years, 100%, and then some kind of compromising in between, some comments about 2 years at 100% and 5 years following at 50%. So we really came up with about 3 options. And I certainly also think this is a very special and almost unique case. Roy's is where people come. They come from Jacksonville. They come from Valdosta, and they've come year after year after year. We talk about Roy's like it's an existing, there is no Roy's restaurant on that land today. There's a food truck. And so we want it back. We think it's worth having. We think it's valuable to Taylor County. And of course, this is your decision to make, but I would add my comments to Linda's and say, I think they're definitely worthy of something, and you have the final say, and that's what the public hearing participation's about. So feel free to comment or disagree or agree.
Bob, which of the three options do you recommend that you guys
Our
present?
the board of directors was 5 years and 50%. I think of that as a bit of a starting point, that there's a lot of value created here, and I think a lot for Steinhatchee needing to know we didn't forget about Steinhatchee. They got destroyed not once, but twice. And then, I mean, just over and over, and I think it's very important. But again, I want to make sure I represent TCDA, and my board recommended 5 years and 50%.
Bob, if I may, you may want to explain how the matrix works. I know that because they already had property, they basically, lost points on that. And the number of jobs created, the capital investment is actually closer to 3.8 million, somewhere between 3.5 and 3.8 million.
Yeah, 3.5 was the capital for the building, and then
Right.
another 350,000 for
the
the tables and dining rooms and upfittings and all of those things. So,
Right.
yes. The way this works, and if you've been in Taylor County a long time, and most of you have, there was always a chance to have a discussion, a debate, an opportunity, but there's no way to just get a template out there on the table saying, can we discuss this? So after the last one that was done prior to this, I understand, I wasn't here, it was given back to kind of TCDA and Ray Curtis, our attorney, to develop a way to do a calculation. So we looked at the whole 0 to 10 years and then said, well, based off of how many people you're going to hire, how much you're going to pay them compared to the minimum wage, how much your investment is. All of those things work into a formula. So if you were a munitions plant, you're going to spend $400 million and hire 165 people, you probably recommend 10 and 10, 10 and 100. Doesn't mean you get it, but just the calculation would give that. So with the 3.8 million, the 20 full-time employees, the wages that are paid, and by the way, these are all hired local. So you're talking about local employment. These people are Taylor County residents that work there. But the calculation calculated at 5 years, 50%. And so the board really supported the calculation. They didn't get creative and change it. They said, this is what it recommended. This is what we'll vote for. So is
I'd
that,
like to up the recommendation for the first year to 100%, because first year is going to be building and there's going to be zero income. If that's possible, that you got to look at the first year they build, that's all money going out, no money coming in.
Okay. Anyone else?
Well, to explain to my clients what y'all are, number one, it says anticipates a minimum, so don't extend yourself on that. I think we heard from 3.5 until 3.8, so don't extend it. And then I think it'd be the next years, and then the minimum of quality jobs, don't extend that, put enough in there during the next years. And then, if you pass this ordinance tonight, did you get the revenue available from Taylor County?
I'll get that.
You got it, so you can fill that
I'll
in?
fill that in.
Okay, and also what would be lost. So we can fill it all in if anticipating that you are going to pass this ordinance, which I'm sure Royce wants it passed tonight. Does anybody have any questions of me with regard to it, how this works?
I got one. You're saying the first year would be 0?
That was just a suggestion. It's my understanding that that the better way to do it would be cleaner way to do it would be to pass a number of years. If you're going to say the first year's 100%, then of course this ordinance needs to be changed somewhat.
I guess the question is it 0 paid or 100% discount? What's the 0? What's the 100?
Okay. I think what I heard the last one of the suggestion before was 100% tax abatement for 2 years. After the 2 years, then 50% for the next 3 years. Is that what we heard before? Okay. Now, that one, another one says 100% all the way for the next whole 5 years. I'm a strong believer that all of us need to have a skin in the game, so taxes is what we all got to pay. We all must pay. But if we give, and I'm talking about from Thomas, if we give 100% for 2 years, then after the next 3 years is 50%. That would give them a chance to help get on the feet and move forward. I think we'll be doing a great service to the community and to the people who will make an investment.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, I'd like to reiterate things that we've talked about previously, in the fact that, Roy's Restaurant is not just a landmark. Roy's Restaurant is a major catalyst in this economy. So to understand where this catalyst is currently, we don't have Roy's Restaurant at full capacity. Now, I think if we look at something that's more substantial in the sense of consideration, and I appreciate TCDA and their recommendation and the efforts they went to gather those numbers, but that's only a consideration by Matrix. That doesn't take into account the decades that this restaurant has contributed into this economy, and not just into the economy, but all these families in which this catalyst supports. And so, my evaluation of this process is absolutely each one of these are individual. There is no, one size fits all, but we utilize the matrix, we utilize these data sets, but we also utilize that and understand our efforts and the abilities that we take up at this measure can move the timeline along to getting Roy's back to its functioning capacity, of which it's currently a shadow of. So my thought and process is that this board will take substantial action to moving that needle along in this process, understanding the continued natural disasters that Roy's has faced. And we all face those things, but understanding at the same time the monies that they've taken out of pocket to try to get back up and functioning. And they did do that, only to be faced again with the effects of Helene. So those are the things that I'm trying to kind of utilize to help me make a decision. And that's why I believe this board would be best serving everyone in the full consideration of the abatement. And that's why I made the suggestion as 10 years at 100%, so that this, it's impersonal to take it and just analyze it as a catalyst or a machine into this economy. But I really do believe that it is that when it's at its full capacity, because it's not just helping a company profit. It's helping all of these families be able to stay local and to sustain, not just the workers, but our local fishermen. And so the restaurant really has a ripple effect in the way that it reaches out and is a benefit, not just to providing folks when they want to go down and enjoy some great seafood and a great salad bar, by the way. Yeah. Looking forward to that. But I think the benefits and the effects that it has throughout. And it's not just that the people in Taylor County benefit, but that folks come from really a tri-state area to benefit and take part in Roy's Restaurant. You have folks that are from Valdosta, folks that are from Jacksonville, folks that are from Dothan, and all these states and all these places. So can they come there and take a part with the food truck? I certainly hope they have been, and I hope they will. But can they also come to a place, if we can help move this restaurant to not just a concept, but an actual existence, and not have to take all these laborious steps of time. And so that's why I would like to see this board take up that 10-year, 100% abatement. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There's another member of the public, Mr. Chairman.
Anybody else? Go ahead.
I hate to speak in public, as you guys know, I don't normally do it, but, way back when, even before the Wickers owned Roy's, it was a
Turn around.
great,
Excuse me, please.
I'm sorry, Patty Zerber, Steen Hatch, Florida. So long before the Wickers owned it and the Kerry Georges owned it, it was a great opportunity for our local community, their kids and everything, whether you be a person that ran around and served tea, you learned the basics of coming to a job every day and what that meant. And people from all over do come, so it is a great economic stream, whether you're buying gas or, you know, buying the seafood or whatever else, you stop in a gift shop along the way. But I personally would say 100% for at least 5 years. Sorry, 100% for at least 5 years, if not the full 10. Not being prejudiced, it just is that it's a great revenue stream for us. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I feel good with 100% for 5 years. If they could have their feet on the ground and be making money and have everything built, I'd be good with that, and then go to 100% after that. Because there'll be other businesses that opened up down there, and they didn't get that kind of, you know, tax break to start with, but they didn't ask for it, so they didn't get it to start with. But there has been businesses here in Taylor County that hired a lot of people that did get tax breaks, and it worked out good, and they kept people employed and kept going. So that's me. I could go 5 years. I wouldn't go 10 years. Be kind of
Are
strong.
you saying 5 years at 100%?
Yes, ma'am, that's what he said.
Okay, I know at our last meeting, I went along with 100% for 2 years and then 50% after that for the remaining 3 years, for a total of 5 years of abatement. I can say this, I think that Roy's certainly has added value, and for sure, certainly they've got a really good product. So that I can attest to. I could go with, I could change my mind and go with 100% for 3 years. And the reason I'm saying that is because I was told that our lack of urgency in planning and building cost them several $1,000s because we didn't move on and help them get started. So with that being said, I could go with 3 years, 100%, and then 2 years with 50%. I'm like Commissioner Downs, I do believe that everybody should have skin in the game, but I could extend mine from 2 years, 100% to 3.
Excuse me. Go ahead.
My name is Velma Tedder Hinkson, and I can't sit here and not say anything. I was there when the first Roy's restaurant started. Ethel Woods is my mother's sister. Roy Kerry George was married to my first cousin, Corey. And the first restaurant that was started wasn't any bigger than that counter that was across the road from.
Will you come to the podium?
I thought my voice would carry.
Got here.
A school teacher voice. But I was there when the first restaurant was started. I'm family. And Roy's Restaurant has been a staple in this county for probably 70 years. I'm 81, and I was about 10 when I stayed with them. People come from Madison, Valdosta, all over through Perry. They shop, they go to Roy's, they come the other direction. Shan's, I mean, I was told when we were over with my husband, the doctors, they can't wait to get to Steinhatchee, eat at Roy's. This has been going on for, goodness, you can celebrate 100 years before too long.
Donna, can you speak to the podium?
And it has been definitely a credit to Taylor County. So whatever you can do to help, please do. They were there before anything else was in Steinhatchee, and they have survived much. And he always fed people that came through the doors. He would consistently do the same thing. I mean, people that were needy. So my recommendation is they are Taylor County. They are a part of us forever. So please help where you can.
Anyone else?
Commissioners.
Go to the mic.
Thank you. School teacher. I'm skipping class. I'm Sonny Parker. I can understand all you commissioners. Jim knows I burn his ear a lot about things. You know, I've owned a corporation, health issue took me out. I had to shut it down. But Steinhatchee's been good. I mean, do y'all remember when Steinhatchee Fish Tournament was organized? You're looking at who organized it. I ran the Big Bend Saltwater Classic for 2 years. They didn't have anything to give the kids to play if I got with rotary mooring and spins. And I went, Ed Sadler was county commissioner, got me to do it. And I went down there, when I left, there was a bunch of old people, now I'm old. And I told Ed, I said, let's stop and get a beer. And so we did, but Steinhatchee runs with things. And to help with this guy over here with TCDA, when you show that a business that's rebuilding, that you're gonna give them a tax break, it gives him a tool to work with industry. And I owned a corporation. I know if you had a payroll I had, I'd get up at the motel in Palatka and go to the bathroom at 3 o'clock in the morning, throw up, wondering how am I gonna make payroll, but I did it. But I say, Ms. Dempsey, I can understand your issue. I can understand Mr. Newman's. I say give them the 5 years at 100%. Because business is tougher out there and prices is changing to where these people don't know. You know, Jim, you know about ordering, Newman, you do too. That semi-load iron may have been this price next week. It's went up and you've already bid it. So, you know, you're eating crow. And, but as the public, I feel, you know, I associate with a lot of people. Roy's is an icon of Steinhatchee. And now when I go down to see Dr. Blewett and Moffitt, they all talk about Roy's, you know, people, and I'm like, you've been to Steinhatchee? And they do. But I'm all in favor of giving them because business is tough. I'm telling you, it's tough. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? From what I've heard so far, if we gave them 100% for 2 years, and then 50% for the next 3 years, that's another 150. And then if we give them one for 3 years, and then 50% for the last 2 years. Those options we got on the table seem like I could work with either one of those. Do I need to explain myself again?
Couldn't go any more than that as far as 100%.
You want to go 100% for 3 years, and then 50% for 2 years?
And then 50 for how many years?
2, 5 years. You can go there. That will give them a chance to get over. Right.
So that's better than what we said last time. That's another whole year at 100%.
They really help the local fishermen. They help the local builders. They help the hardware stores. They help the fishing guides. They help everybody by bringing a crowd down there. And the motels and the rentals. It's a plus for Steinhatchee, and I understand that.
You're willing to go 5 years, 100?
It's kind of a toss up between the 4 and 5, but we,
Mr. Dempsey, could you do 5 years at 100%?
Come on, Riverboat Gambler, roll it.
Let it be up to 50% to 75.
Hey, what?
Let it be up to 50% to 75% for the next 2 years. Split the difference between y'all.
In the county too, not Stephen Hatchie, the whole county.
I wanna help them, and I think that what we're talking about would help them greatly. You're talking 3 years at no taxes, that's big to me, that's big. I also worry about, setting a precedent too. Do that 5 years at 100%. And so the next business that comes and the next and the next and the next, are we gonna do that? And where's that gonna leave us without revenue issues?
It's gonna take them like over a year to build it. I would think and get started altogether. They're gonna be putting money out for a year, no income besides their food truck. Yeah.
I would agree. I think you're really talking about after that first year is gone, if you're able to do 5 years at 100%, that you're really only talking 4 years that you're operating. So I don't disagree with Parker, what he's saying when you're talking fuel costs and all these other things that are going on and the expenses of materials and building. A lot of those numbers are continually fluctuating. And a lot of these folks, just like he's talking about, they may honor that for a week or two, but they're not going to go 30 to 90 days because they don't know what the fuel costs are going to do. These folks in building are in the same predicament. So that's why I'm saying, Mr. Dempsey, I would prefer 10 years at 100%. But understanding and knowing what costs are, I think if we can settle on 5 years at 100%, at least that's giving Roy's Restaurant the option to be able to overcome all these issues with getting a restaurant back in place. And that's just a concept at this point in time.
Okay, good. I can understand that. But does that mean if a new owner, if they decide to sell next year, year after next, does that new owner take on that? Or do they pay tax?
I believe that's a Mr. Bishop question, but I'm not certain if it's transferable.
As long as it stays the same corporation, it would run with the corporation. Another thing that you got to understand too is after the 5 years, you can go again, try again. It's not just a one-time thing. We've had them where they've done one and then went ahead and did an expansion and did another one as a practical matter. Y'all understand what I'm saying?
I understand.
So,
All right. We're gonna bring this public hearing to a close. No one else? You can speak
somebody
now.
needs to make a
You
motion.
Listen.
So was you gonna make that motion, Mr. Moody?
Make a motion 100% for 5 years.
You good with that? Yeah. I'll second that motion.
All right, motion second, 5 years.
Any discussion?
Wait a minute. I want to ask the lady that, did you hear that motion?
I heard that motion, and I hope you vote for it.
Vote.
Is this roll call?
Yes,
call.
please.
You wanna call it out?
Aubrey.
Commissioner Fegel?
This is roll call.
Okay,
Commissioner Fegel?
Yes.
Commissioner Dents?
yes.
Commissioner Newman?
Yes.
And Commissioner Moody?
Yes.
Got it.
Okay. We appreciate you. And hope you're well in your business.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
When-
All right.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
When will you be open?
Within the year. We hope to be open next year at golf season.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we're looking forward to that day.
Thank you so much. Thank all of you.
We move to item 16. Mr. John Gibbons to appear to discuss the Roof versus Taylor County.
Happy after 4th of July. I'd like to speak to you about something that, is on my mind a little bit. My name is John P. Gibbons. I live at 4828 Andrews Lake Road in Perry, Florida. What we have here is, when I purchased the property in 2020, January 6th, 2020, I purchased the property from, Johnny Driggers. And shortly thereafter, I was informed about a lawsuit by a man named Robert Root and Melinda Root. Since this day up till this time, it has been nothing but pain and aggravation. The people have Robert Root and Melinda Root, both have passed away, one in 23, one in 25, I believe 24 and 25. I've been before. This is not the first time. This is about taking over the road on the side of my house. I'm sure you people are both aware about it. When it came to Johnny Driggers, you said you guys are aware of it being passed, I believe, in 2015. When they moved the road, went through my property around to the edge of the property, which happened in, I want to say 2010, 2015, I'm for sure about that date. And they had to go before the county commission back then in order, Johnny Driggers, in order to move the road from going through the property to the outside of the property. And it was passed by the county commission back then. After that, I don't know what happened, but the lawsuit then came down upon me. I've been here for 6 years. Like I said, in June 11th, I got summoned by Judge Parker to come up here for an amendment for the end of the meeting. And they had already they had passed the rules that I had agreed to take my land or whatever have you, and the county was gonna get the land and $2,500 or some crazy stuff. Are you guys aware of any of this stuff? They said that lawyers, I believe it was the county commissioner's lawyers or county lawyers or whoever they are, they said that all this was made aware of your office, correct?
Well, we were represented by our insurance company lawyer, Dave Terry. This has been going on for years. It's been in the jurisdiction of the circuit court. If Mr. Gibbons has a complaint about the order that was entered by the circuit court, he has the right to appeal it to Tallahassee, to the district court. It's sort of out of your hands now at this point in time, because an order has been entered by the circuit judge.
Excuse me, sir. I have a permit. I don't know if I went before this, and it stated that when it's 23, put a garage on my house. That's the first time I came here to talk to Commissioner. Do you recall, Mr. Beagle? And this was over the road way back then. And I was given a variance, which I didn't use, to go even closer to my fence line. People in this lawsuit are both dead. This is private land. If they can do this to me, they can do it to anybody in this room. If they decide, oh, guess what? I want your land, we're gonna take it from you. And that is not what America's all about. And I'm going here before the county commission, because I thought county commission, I thought they were like kind of in charge. They're not a lawyer. Can you correct me if I'm wrong on that? So if I'm appealing to the county commission, isn't this the right step to go? What would you say, sir?
It's not. It's in the circuit court, and like I said just a few minutes ago,
it should have never went to the circuit court. According
you
to
had the
this-
right to, you had the right to file a motion to dismiss. You didn't do that.
Which I just
Wait a
did on
minute.
June 11th.
You asked me a question. Can I answer it?
Sure.
Okay. You had a lawyer, and the lawyers represented you, and you're bound by what the lawyer says. So I can't help it if you had a dispute with your lawyer. But what can be done now, is if you have the right, if within 30 days after the order has been entered, you can file a notice of appeal and appeal it to the district court in Tallahassee.
I already went and I appealed it last week when I came up here for the,
Okay.
to appeal it, but on June 12th, when I tried to come before the county commissioner, and I don't remember which lady I was talking to. They said they went to the lawyer and they would never get back to me on this. This is the last time I came up here from my other house. What I'm saying, sir, is even on that lawsuit, which should never have happened, because I don't know how dead people can sue living people, and if it can happen to me, it can happen to anyone. If they decide they want your land, they can take it. And I'm appealing that I think this whole step is wrong. This is a county road, this is an easement road, let's say, on a property that two dead people that aren't even here, they still held on the court. The lawyer, if I could say this, on April 17th, I have paperwork and documents. He was relieved of his duties, and I was able to tell him, I get to Donald Trump, and you're fired. Now, the meetings that you have on record is May 10th, where he went and spoke on behalf of me, and I have documents that should never have happened in the first place. And every chance I try to get to talk, it's like a railroad down, and I don't think, as the main thing is what I'm gonna say, this is a private road, actually it's a county road, to a private residency, and if they can eminent domain my property is what the county would have to do in order to take the property, they would have to eminent domain, and I'd have to sign off my property, which I never planned to do when I bought my house. Thought the house is an American dream, and that's what you do. The government doesn't step in, try to take your land, and this is what it seems like, and I'd be ashamed of any person that thought that was right, that they could do that stuff. And I was just wondering if two of these people in this courtroom have not heard, I had made a video, and I had sent it to this lady, my wife, because I stick with computers. And we put it, I'm pretty hard to understand, but a picture says 1,000 words. And there's a road, and this is one that was given to you back in 2015 to acquire the road. This is prior to even the house being there. In 2015, to put the road in, because the road went through the property. Everybody's seen, that was brought here to the commission in 2015. The previous owner, Johnny Driggers, actually with Ben Jones was his name, the attorney. That's that video right there. As you can see, the thing was about oranges. Let's tell the story about oranges. That's what it was all about in the beginning. Mr. Bishop, could you explain that too? Then there's the next video, which I'd love you all to see this. I wish everybody could see it in this courtroom. There's a picture of the entire road starting 2 blocks from my house to the end of the road. And I think the road, the picture, I can't tell the story. A video on camera can tell a better picture than trying to explain it to you, I guess. You know? And my question is, I'm sorry about turning my face to you. This has been before you. 2023 is when I came before you prior to this. That video comes back to you in 2015. And if the lawyer is handed down, if you want to turn it down to somebody else, I think that's wrong. And I think that taking away land for land expansion against me is totally unacceptable. I mean, I have not agreed to it, but I heard that it already has been, the lawyer for the county, I can't remember his name, said this had already passed. And that's why I'm here, because apparently you guys already know about it. Is there truth to that? Because that's what they told me. I had to order 396 papers on June 12th. This is all the reading I had to do with bad eyes. Find out all this stuff. A lot of it is lies, and just they lie to you. People are lying and deceiving for you. And I never agreed to none of this stuff. And I thought if I came to the county commission, that would be one of my starts too. I'm asking you to please, county commission.
Who did they say was gonna end up with the land?
Well, the county is supposedly, it's gonna be 0.0551 of an acre, which comes out to, I'm gonna put this right, 2,283 square feet of land. My house is a 750 square foot house, so it's about 3 times the size of my house that I have on my land. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
She said you need to address the board.
I'm sorry, I apologize. So, according to court, 0.0551, which comes out to 2,022, I'm trying to remember, 83, which is like, my house is 750 square feet, it'd be like taking 3 of my houses and that much land. So, kind of figured it out that way too. Like I said, we have a video of the road from the house next door to my house, all the way to the house down the road. I didn't start this, I didn't know the guy, I I'm retired here, I wanted to live here. And this ain't what I thought I signed up for. You're saying it's in the, were you allowed to see the second video on this, sir?
We never received it. I never received it.
Oh. I don't know how to do it. Like I said, now, if they can do this to me, they can do it to each and every one of you in this room. Take your land and say, oh, that's eminent domain or whatever, and I don't think it's right, and I think it's unjust, and I don't think that's the American way of life. And as I said in court, I think the Fifth Amendment says that you're not supposed, the government's not supposed to take your land. If the government ain't taking the land, then who is?
Well, Mr. Conrad said that they notified you, you had 30 days.
Which I did do the appeal process. And again, on June 12th, when I came in here, I talked to the lady about coming in here for a meeting 2 weeks ago. And the attorney was not allowed to get back, he didn't get back to me. So I came up again for this meeting. And so I have to make sure, and again, it's 300-mile trip from my other house to here every time back. So are you aware of that? Are you people aware of that either? They tried to do this a couple weeks on June 12th, but the attorney would not get back to me. And when the lawsuit came about, this is a funny thing, but I ain't laughing. On the lawsuit, it says Robert Root against Johnny Burgers, and the county was supposed to be sitting against on the other side. Robert Root and Belinda Root were suing him. First it was Johnny Burgers, then my name was put to that list because he sold me the property. And at that time, the records didn't have no, when you buy property, what you have to get is, it's called title insurance. I got the title insurance. And at that time, there was no liens, any road stuff coming on that property whatsoever. After it did, I don't know if they had a bad card game or something way back when, I had nothing to do with it. And I thought this was absolved. I didn't even know when I got it. And then they gave me a book like War and Peace after that, real thick subpoena, this and that. I had to buy a lawyer for $2,500. And then they gave me this lawyer for insurance company. And he seemed like, I don't know, it seemed like he was playing footsie with the county attorneys and.
Whoa.
I don't know, well, were you in there, sir? Do you know who he is, sir? I don't know, I'm just, this is what I'm saying right now, and, when I went to, sure, yes, sir.
I'm lost. I don't know what you want, but do you got I know you got a deed somewhere, a deed should
I
say.
do have a deed. Yes, sir, I do.
We went there and reworked the road
Okay.
to match the deeds and everything. Back in them days, bring it for the the Roots were saying they could not haul timber out of there, they couldn't haul fruit out of there. The road wasn't this, the road wasn't that. But when the time come, they cut their timber and he's got a video of the log trucks coming out of there. And I was there when the log trucks were coming out. I witnessed it. I saw the log trucks coming out of there. I thought for sure that everybody was satisfied, but no doubt that Roots wasn't satisfied. And I hate to speak of somebody that's dead and gone, but how did this get brought up again after, who's following up on this for the Roots?
Well, apparently there's, excuse me, sir. Apparently now, there's the dates when he passed away. Went under new arm, this year, prior to have your last meeting that they had on May 10th, 2024, I believe, or 2025, the lawyer that I had let go, he went there. I have letters and right over there, I could show you that he was no longer my lawyer. And I had said what I think that is kind of illegal too, but I ain't there, this ain't with you guys. At the June 11th thing, I think it's called Parker, was the name of the judge was Parker. And he summoned me to go to the courthouse over here. And I brought off all of what I thought I had to have. And they had court during, I didn't even know about it, 3 times. I don't do that text email, and I don't do that stuff. I didn't receive no notification. Now again, with the thing, my understanding is 0.0155 or something, which comes up to
Let me just say this.
2283, up to 2283 feet, square feet of your property.
Here's what happened with this. The Roots sued the county also. All right, because they couldn't get allegedly they couldn't get their timber in there. Mr. Driggers sold his property to Mr. Gibbons. Mr. Gibbons got title insurance, who in fact hired him a lawyer to represent him in the lawsuit, because we're trying to widen the road so we could satisfy the Roots in this particular instance. Now, Mr. Gibbons, as I understand it, and his lawyer had a parting of the ways. Okay, that's not the Board of County Commissioners' problem. That's your problem. If you have a parting of the ways, the lawsuit is, as I understand it, the court entered an order. You did not appear for one of the hearings, as I understood it. You know, and now he's got an order that he doesn't care for, and I appreciate that. He has the right to not care for it, but his remedy is to appeal the ruling of His Honor Judge Parker. Y'all don't have jurisdiction to be doing that.
Okay.
So that's where it's at right now.
All right.
And one other thing, if you've got questions about it, and get a whole history of it, Mr. Terry, who represents the county in this, because our insurance company hired Mr. Terry to represent the county in this instance, is willing to come down here and explain everything to the Board of County Commissioners. Thank you.
Now,
Sir, 3 minutes is,
okay, I'm sorry, but then, excuse me,
we're trying to be,
we should look at this here, and we should go back in your history.
what about letting us get your lawyer, get our attorney down here and tell us, explain what
I
you
would love to have that attorney in front of me right now, because when at the last time we were at that meeting, I thought that your attorney was supposed to be sitting with me, not with the attorney for Robert Root, who's been dead. And then they sold that. He said, well, the heirs get to take on the lawsuit. Then after the heirs, they sold the property. So now there's new owners involved, right? And to me, if you could take somebody's land like this here and have somebody say that it's justifiable and right, it ain't right anywhere I can look at it. And I don't know if you remember, Pam, when I came in with the permit a long time ago, was to put a big garage in my property. And that was the permit in, I got it right here, it cost me $500 or something like that. I'm trying to get the date on it, 5/8 of 23.
Yes, sir. And let me tell you something. I sympathize with you, but according to our attorney, there is nothing that we can do tonight. I hear you. I'm sorry that you're dissatisfied, but let us go through the process that he suggested and because we're not gonna fix anything tonight. Okay? Is that good with you?
I appreciate that, but then again, in the same thing, like I said, when the video, I wanted everybody to see the video, the entire road from the roots to my house. And why, 7 blocks down from your house, a man can come in and say, well, I don't like your corner of your house, because I got all the money and stuff. I'm in cahoots with whoever's in cahoots that can do that stuff. That is not right. And I thought the common council was the people that were really the ones in power. I didn't know that, the lawyer from, Capital could come in and do that stuff. And I just, it doesn't make any sense to me. And
Mr.
if
Chairman,
I don't sign the paperwork,
Mr. Gibbons, I know we've talked about this before. And when you first came in, if you'll recall, we talked about that an appeal needed to be with the court,
which I
correct?
did.
Okay, all right. So have you gone through the process to appeal Judge Parker's order?
Yes, I have. I'm in the
Okay.
process right now.
Okay, so because we discussed that this was a matter for the court. So, and so I just want to make sure you understand the process.
I just wonder if the board understands what the outcome of the process is. It's 2,188 square feet of my property will be deeded to the county, Taylor County.
Because that was a settlement agreement that your attorney signed, correct?
I fired that attorney.
I understand.
And he had no right or clause.
Okay, so
And
that's,
when the lawyer,
right.
when we were at this June 11th, lawyer, I'm sitting by myself here. Your attorney's sitting with the dead man's, another attorney on the other side.
Whoa.
Oh, it's on record. It's on record.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay.
So anyways, I
As a
came
legal
here
process,
to.
I'm going to advise you to get your attorney, or you come back and listen when we get
Mr. Terry.
here now, okay?
Okay.
We'll spend some time on that, and I feel sorry for you.
I don't want to sign my line to the county.
Okay, appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
Hospital item.
Thomas, hold on just a second. I've got a daughter that wants to speak to that. She lives up there to the road, and just to clarify some stuff right here real quick, okay?
Okay.
I teach kids, not children. So, my name is Brittany Clark, and I reside at 4820 Andrews Lake Road. I'm here today to speak on behalf of myself and my cousin who resides at 4841 Andrews Lake Road. We are the only full-time residents who travel Andrews Lake Road every day in and day out. While there are other property owners along the road, they are only in town periodically and use the road occasionally. The concerns surrounding Andrews Lake Road stem from past grievances involving the county and individuals who either no longer live on Andrews Lake Road and in some cases are no longer living. This issue has continued for far too long. As the 2 permanent residents who use Andrews Lake Road on a daily basis with multiple children, my cousin and I want to make it clear that we have no concerns with the road as it exists today. We are satisfied with its current condition, and we believe it's time to put this long-standing issue behind us. We would also like for Mr. and Mrs. Gibbons to know that we do not have any ties or any issues with the way the road is now. This is an issue that is solely between the county and the individuals who no longer reside there or are no longer living. Thank you.
Okay. Go to item 17.
Say it again. I ever open my mouth to your kids, you're gonna do what? You go with me?
Go to item 17. Board to hear presentation regarding the core network funding and to consider proposal of funding plan as agenda by LaWanda Pemberton, County Administrator.
Actually, Ashley Biddy from DMH is going to present a proposal for this funding. I want to make sure, I don't know if it's in your presentation, I'm sure it is, that this is funding that does not flow through the county. So your responsibility is to approve or not approve the plan for how these monies would be spent. So it doesn't pass through the county doesn't approve the expenditures per se, it's the actual plan. And so NWF has worked with Doctors Memorial Hospital, Disc Village, and Appalachia, who are currently providing these services to the community. And I think mainly with the funding, the other opioid funding that comes to the county and goes to DMH that we discussed earlier. So this is basically this additional settlement agreement that Ashley is going to speak about.
So I'm Ashley Biddy. I'm the interim CEO at Doctors Memorial Hospital, also the chief nursing officer. And we do have, I know Stephanie's here with Appalachia Center. Is Jennifer here with Disc Village or anybody from Disc Village? So Stephanie might stand up and talk about her portion of this. But we wanted to explain what the Taylor County Core Network is and what our plan is with the funding moving forward. And so CORE is Coordinated Opioid Recovery. And as Wanda mentioned, Northwest Florida is a network management agency that manages the funding, and they approve the different projects, and they work with the different entities to ensure that there's community access and quality care, specifically in this category with opioid use and mental health. And so background to this supplied by Northwest Florida, it kind of just gives an overview, and you guys have this presentation, I believe, in your packet. So I'm not going to read every statistic, but these are the statistics that led up to and support the opioid settlement that happened, I believe nationwide, but Florida's share of that is $3 billion over 18 years. So there's two pots of funding, like what Wanda was saying, they both go over 18 years. But essentially, opioid disorders are a pandemic, and a lot of people are affected, 40,000 people in 1 year. And so again, what is CORE here? It's a designated established system for those seeking treatment for the opioid disorder. And so background with Northwest Florida, we met actually here with probably 20 different entities that all deal with emergency services, first responders that would be the first type of people that would be in connection with people with opioid disorders. As we met over a course of months, Doctors Memorial Hospital volunteered to be the 24/7 induction site. And then we also had Appalachia Center and Disc Village both stand up and say they wanted to be a part of this network. And so you have here a slide, and I believe y'all have that in your packet, but I brought it specifically if you wanted just this slide that kind of explains what each entity would be doing. Both Disc Village and Appalachia Center are able to provide services Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. They are the experts with the medication-assisted treatment, behavioral health services, case management, and recovery and support. What Doctors Memorial Hospital is willing to do, and it's different than what we've done in the past, we're willing to now supply this medication to patients and actually dispense at least 3 days worth until either one of these centers are open to continue the medication treatment. That was not typically something that a hospital would do. And so our plan for Doctors Memorial Hospital is to be the 24/7 induction site We'll provide medical screening examination, which we already do right now with the previous funding. We've changed how our medical record, we have different trigger questions to make sure that anybody that's coming in contact with these patients can get down to the root if the opioid is part of the issue and if a person is seeking treatment. We do a substance use risk assessment. We'll initiate coordination of medication-assisted treatment. Behavioral health assessments as indicated, education, and the warm handoff. The warm handoff is also different with this program versus the other program. What will happen with our MOUs between the organizations, we can provide a consent form for that patient right there and then be able to transmit their information to the next entity that's going to help take care of that patient, all within the legal rights of the healthcare system and HIPAA and that kind of stuff. And then we'll continue the coordination of transport services with the Taylor's Promise van. And then the other two entities also help with transportation if patients need it. So with DMH, we are asking out of $700,000 the first year for $200,000, primarily for medication and some capital equipment. We would like to create a safe room in our emergency department, because if somebody's coming into our emergency room in a very acute crisis, we'd like to offer them a place that is ligature-free where they can't harm themselves. So that would be replacing trash cans, toilets, sinks, mattress, the bed frame, the way that the door opens and closes so that there could be no barricading. And then take it up a notch and offer some television or interactive panel, because sometimes in these scenarios, everything gets stripped away from the patient. We would like to offer some dignity and some sanity and help with that. So that's what we're asking for with the first year. And then Disc Village, did anybody say they were here from Disc Village? So Disc Village is, they are going to offer the certified peer support services, which we can connect with the peer support 24/7. They just can't give the medication out 24/7. They'll also be doing medical services, medications, counseling, and case management. They are asking for $325,000 for the first year to support all those services.
Right. Sure. Good evening. So as a portion of this funding, Appalachia Center is going to be asking for a significant amount so that we can ask Disc Village to be utilizing our MAP services for that 24-hour communication, as well as our CRF and our inpatient units, our detox unit. And then we'll be able to admit individuals into our services 5 days a week through our same-day access program. We'll also be able to continue what's originally the induction at the hospital into the MAP services, where they'll get weekly APRN services, medication prescriptions, case management, peer services. We have groups, we have a co-occurring substance abuse therapist. There's the full spectrum of those substance abuse services we'll be offering them.
And so their plan would be $175,000 the first year, year two, $87,500, and in year three, $43,750. And then we have an overall view of what it would look like as the years continue with subsequent funding. And so your responsibility in this is just to say yes to our plan.
And if we could go over, just so the board understands, the way the funding flows is the first year it's $700,000, and year two, that's cut in half to $350,000. And then for the next 16 years, it is $175,000. So that's 18 years of treatment options for this crisis, and the total is somewhere around $3.8 million over 18 years.
Concludes our presentation about the program.
Is this all now for voluntarily coming in and saying I have an issue, or just tell me
mandated, not with what the hospital would be doing.
Just volunteer
or acute. Sometimes you come into the hospital when you didn't volunteer to be there, and we can still identify that maybe you're what medications you're prescribed, or maybe you answered that question, or somebody that answered that question for you, that opioids could be there. It gives us a doorway to have a conversation with the patient, to offer them the services at Appalachia Center and this village, and just education. We're doing some of that already with the previous funding, and we are making contact with people.
I think more importantly, it's not just opening that door, it's sticking a door jam in it where we haven't had the resources historically when individuals present to the hospital to immediately initiate the medication-assisted treatment. Now we can do that, and then there's that immediate warm handoff and that communication to make sure that the individuals are continuing with that process in the long term. So we've connected those dots.
So the medication would be available to the patients through the ER immediately?
Yes.
Is that at all three locations, at this village, Appalachia, and Dr. Memorial?
Yes, they do that Monday through Friday.
8 to 5? What about you?
That's why Doctors Memorial said that we would be the 24/7, so that any individual would have the opportunity to get that medication, get that education, get that treatment with us.
Because otherwise, for those folks fall through the cracks?
Yes.
Yes, right.
Is there any kind of follow-up, that's done?
They're gonna initiate the medications at the 24-hour receiving center and continue those medications. Let's say hypothetically, it's a weekend or a holiday, they're at Doctors Memorial. From there, during normal business hours or during the week, they'll be able to immediately come in, get admitted, whether it's through Disc Village or through Appalachia Center. It's client choice at that point. And then, yes, they will be enrolled in MAT services immediately. We'll pick up the medication management and continue it moving forward, and enroll them in the additional services that'll be required and necessary to help them sustain that sobriety.
I know this is a difficult thing. Do you have any data that says how many people have successfully gone through the programs and remain drug-free? Because I know there's a lot of repetitive
I did not come prepared with those numbers this evening, but I can tell you historically, MAT services have been essential and key, and the numbers are significantly high when you consider that early initiation of the medications and then the prompt carryover and continuation of the medication services. The percentage is very high. It's over 60 to 70% success rate when you initiate it and have that follow through immediately afterwards in a MAT type program. And that's hence why Northwest Florida Health Network wanted to focus on this core network, because the percentages and the research does show it's so significantly important.
Well, I support the program. We have to at least try and do everything that we can.
We're happy to be a part of it and be able to say, yes, we'll do this and we'll try.
We appreciate what you do.
Motion approved.
Yes.
Motion. Motion second, all in favor, saying aye. Aye. All right.
Thank y'all for your work and the presentation.
Thank you.
Go to item 18, the board to hear presentation and discussion of data center development in Taylor County, as requested by Santina Deming.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Santina Deming. I reside here in Perry, Taylor County. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak tonight. Before the meeting, I prepared a packet summarizing research from government agencies, academic institutions, news reporting, and actions already taken by communities throughout Florida regarding data center development. That should be included in your meeting documents, but it also includes a lot of links, so I can email that to you all after this meeting as well, so you can access those items. My goal this evening is not to debate every study or statistic. Rather, it is to encourage this board to take a thoughtful and transparent approach before Taylor County finds itself making decisions that could affect our community for generations. Over the past several months, many residents became aware that the Taylor County Development Authority has been actively recruiting projects such as the proposed Project Lightspeed. I understand that the TCDA has perhaps moved that project to an inactive status, but its existence and continued conversations about it make this discussion worthwhile tonight. In various forums, the TCDA has said that Taylor County has the electricity, water, and infrastructure necessary to support a data center. The question before us is not whether Taylor County can support a data center. The question is whether doing so is in the best long-term interest of the people who call Taylor County home. Taylor County has endured more than its share of hardship in recent years, as we all know. We are still recovering from devastating hurricanes, the loss of major industries, and ongoing economic uncertainty. As we rebuild, we have an opportunity to be intentional about what kind of future we want to create here. I do support responsible economic development. We all want new investment, good paying jobs, and opportunities that strengthen our local economy. But responsible economic development also requires us to fully understand both the benefits and the long-term costs before commitments are made. As outlined in the materials before you, data centers can require extraordinary amounts of electricity and water. They place significant demands on public infrastructure. They generate near constant industrial noise and permanently convert hundreds or even thousands of acres of land to industrial use. These are not temporary impacts. They become part of a community for decades thereafter. The question before us isn't whether every data center is inherently good or bad. The question is whether Taylor County has done enough research to determine whether this type of development is compatible with our infrastructure, our natural resources, and our long-term vision. The reality is that companies looking to build these facilities are actively searching for communities with available land, abundant utilities, and few regulatory barriers. Taylor County possesses many of those characteristics. If neighboring counties continue adopting moratoria and stronger regulations while we do nothing, we risk becoming the path of least resistance. So we would be targeted by these companies, not because we are the best location, but because we are the easiest one. I urge us to think critically about this before allowing such an experimental facility to enter this community. Fortunately, we do not have to navigate this issue alone. Across Florida, county commissions have already been asked these questions and have all reached a similar conclusion. More time and stronger safeguards are needed before allowing this type of development. Some of those counties include Citrus, Pasco, Hernando, Jackson, Wakulla, Lake County, Clay County, and DeSoto, and I've heard many more since then. They have all adopted moratoria or other restrictions while they evaluate the long-term impacts. I believe that they've made the prudent decision, and I respectfully encourage Taylor County to follow their lead. We have an opportunity to learn from their experience instead of waiting until we are forced to react under the pressure of a specific proposal. The good news is that Taylor County does also not have to start from scratch either. I've included in the packet I gave you model moratorium ordinances and draft land development code amendments. Also included are those draft ordinances from some of those counties I mentioned who have already approached this issue, and those offer practical starting points should this board consider to move forward. You are not being asked to reinvent the wheel here. Many of our neighboring communities have already done the difficult work, and we can benefit from the lessons they've learned. This concern is not mine alone. Since May, over 1,000 people have signed the petition opposing data center development in Taylor County. I have included most of those names in your packet as well. Those signatures represent residents from every corner of this county, people who are asking their elected officials to proceed cautiously and deliberately before allowing this type of development. Whether or not every signer shares the same concerns, they all share one request: that their voices be heard before decisions are made that could permanently shape the future of Taylor County. These are your constituents, they are your neighbors, they are your families, and I respectfully ask that their concerns receive the thoughtful consideration they deserve as well. The best time to establish our expectations is before an application or a proposal ever arrives, not after. Because once a proposal is on the table, the conversation can change quickly. As you all know, there are deadlines, negotiations, incentive discussions, and economic promises that create pressure to move quickly. For these reasons, I respectfully ask this board to consider 3 actions today. First, adopt a temporary moratorium on new data center development while the county completes its due diligence. You may wish to have the county attorney draft such an item and bring it back next time, or I encourage you to schedule a special meeting or a workshop on this topic. Second, commit to a fully transparent public process so that residents can be informed throughout every stage of any future proposal. Can you affirm that you will not sign any NDAs should a company ask you to, effectively blocking out public awareness and input? Something this important should be discussed in the light of day. And third, direct county staff in coordination with appropriate agencies and subject matter experts to conduct a comprehensive evaluation of the potential impacts on our infrastructure, our water supply, environmental resources, land use, health impacts, and long-term economic outcomes before any proposal comes to this board. I think these findings should be made publicly available so that both the decision makers and the residents have access to objective evidence-based information. None of these recommendations tonight prohibit future development. They simply ensure that when those decisions are made, they are informed by facts rather than assumptions. Every generation has moments when it decides what kind of community it intends to leave behind. And I believe that this is one of those moments for Taylor County. And we cannot control where every company chooses to invest, but we can control the standards we set for our community. If our neighboring counties are drawing a line and saying, we need to fully understand these impacts before moving forward, I believe that Taylor County should have the wisdom and confidence to do the same. Let us send a clear message that responsible economic development is always welcome here, but only when it protects the people, the resources, and the rural character that make Taylor County worth calling home. We should not become the community that absorbs the cost while others reap the benefits. We owe it to our neighbors and our families to ensure that any development truly serves Taylor County, not just the interest of those outside of it. I respectfully ask you to draw that line today by initiating a temporary moratorium, committing to a transparent public process, and conducting the comprehensive research your constituents deserve before any decisions are made. The decisions you make in the coming months will shape Taylor County long after all of us have left these seats and this podium. Our children and grandchildren will have to live with the decisions of today, and I ask that you make those decisions with the health, prosperity, and posterity of our community at the forefront. Thank you for your time and consideration tonight. I'm happy to try to answer any questions. I'm not an expert. I've just done a lot of research on it, but I do know a number of people are here to make public comment as well. Whichever direction you all want to go, we can go.
Mr. Chairperson, Ms. Santina, if I may.
Yeah.
In your research, did you include the effects of the new bill that just, or the Senate Bill 484?
I did mention that in my documents provided to you all. Yeah.
So there are new state laws that help, protect a community as far as the utility usage and also the consumptive water usage.
Yes.
And what type, I believe, maybe what type of system that is used.
I'm not quite sure if they go into that detail. I just know that Senate Bill 484 places the responsibility for those such protections in the hands of local government.
Well, no, the state actually has this, so it's under the state's mandate as far as utility protection and consumptive water, or the water district. So what that changes, as far as I understand, and anyone who knows better, please correct me, but from what I understand, what it does is preserve for the local communities the planning and zoning.
Okay.
So, and then I'm not sure how all of this interacts with Senate Bill 180, which keeps a community from restrictive land development changes. So I think the utility and the water consumption questions is something for, and I'm not sure how all of this works. This is a brand new law that just took effect on July 1st. But that is something that we probably need to take into account.
Absolutely, yes. I hope so, yeah. Any other questions? I could try to answer, like I said. I just feel very strongly.
Question, you ever been in one of them?
I haven't, no.
You have to root by one?
I haven't, no.
I have as well.
Before I could give any idea of what I thought about them, I've got to go visit one, talk to the employees in the plant. I've got to talk to the neighbors. I've got to talk to the not just the neighbors, but the people in the surrounding community. I've got to talk to the county commissioners of that town, city councilman of that town, and then I got to talk to a lot of people that need, before you make a decision to even think about putting a moratorium on something, you got to have some answers.
I agree, but those questions have been well documented throughout the national.
Oh, man, you can look on Facebook, you can see a lot of stuff.
I'm not referring to Facebook, I'm referring to the national news.
Yeah, I know, but the thing is,
I hope the opportunity presents itself so I can have firsthand experience, I do.
you're running up front on the thing, but and I appreciate you having what it takes to do that. But you need to start out by go visit and want to talk to people.
Let's go together.
Yeah.
One that is running, one that is finished and has been running for some time. When they're not running, when they're being built, there's no problem. The problem comes afterwards.
Yep.
I bet they pay their employees, don't they?
All
Excuse
about
me.
15 of them.
All about 15.
Excuse me, you can raise your hand, ask to speak.
I'll come and speak. Thank you.
Okay.
Would you like to open it up for public comment?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
You come up to the podium, state your name, address, please.
Hello. Good evening, commissioners, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for getting this on the agenda. I really appreciate it. My name is Joey Juanita Barrett Strothman. Joey Juanita Barrett Strothman of 804 West Julia Street here in Perry, Florida. I am a contractor for the Department of War. I am also the Sunday school teacher at the Methodist Church here in Perry, Florida. Unfortunately, I spend a lot of time working with computers, working with technology I can talk about and technology I can't. And I'm somewhat flabbergasted to say that we need to visit a data center to understand the impacts. The impacts are already becoming very, very clear. I'd like to start by saying that I really appreciate the time for you to give us to let us discuss this, because you've got a room full of very concerned Taylor County residents that would really like to keep our county the way that it is. I want development. We all want development. We all want more jobs. But on average, these data centers keep about 15 permanent employees. Many of them visa holders. Yes, sir.
Or something to say. There was a group that came to the county commissioners. My dad told me when Procter & Gamble wanted to build a paper mill in Taylor County. The same way, they did not want a paper.
We're still fighting pollution. Are we still fighting pollution?
They did not want a paper mill in this town.
Are we still fighting pollution from that paper mill, sir?
Huh?
Are we still having issues from pollution and wastewater from that paper mill, sir? All these years later.
Yeah.
Can you make sure to preserve her time as well?
Yeah.
The
Thank you.
thing is, we lost our number one employer. Anything that could come here and could show that they could, hire people and work them.
All 15 of them from India? Is that what we need in Taylor County?
That's the reason I got to go to one before I could give you any idea. I've got to talk to the people work there. I got to talk to the whole group,
Okay, sir.
the neighbors.
Do you need to go to Ward to know what Ward's like? I guess
Huh?
so.
Do what?
You need to go to Ward to be able to imagine what Ward is like.
I'm gonna go to several data centers before I make a decision on anything about a data center. And talk to the neighbors. The
Your
neighbors.
constituents' concerns are of no issue to you?
This mill out here was using 41 million gallons a day when it closed down. A data center don't use nothing like
We're
that.
also concerned about the wastewater coming back into the environment, which will destroy much of the local
How does
ecosystem.
it run in there through the pipes to cool a giant computer gonna put waste in?
It comes back out hot, sir. What do you think happens with the
Hot.
hot water?
What you think the mill out there where water come out of it was hot too?
And we're still having problems with the wastewater discharge all these years later. Is that still not an issue that's being discussed?
Non-contact effluent is still effluent.
Yep.
Continue to speak, please.
Go ahead.
Go
ahead.
Of course, we all are concerned with making progress, but modern progress is not data centers. There is a misconception that they bring jobs, tax revenue, and opportunity without consequence. That's simply not true, and the facts are coming out across the nation that that is not true. Miss Santana has done such a great job. I have to skip forward a little bit of my notes, but we're talking about water, okay? I would love to hear from some of the local real estate agents in town as to what that's gonna do to our ability to sell our homes. Difficulty selling homes near data centers, is reducing home values by 10 to 20% across the nation. Anywhere near a data center. I'm sorry, I'd like to be able to sell my home one day. I'd like to be able to live in my home without the noise, pollution. Also, the fear of declining rural character. We are not a large city. We are not a large county with endless resources. Our resources are our people and our nature. And I really appreciate y'all giving us the opportunity to be heard today, because we are your constituents, we are your neighbors, we are your families, and no one wants us here aside from people that are going to get a lot of money in their pockets. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hello. Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Nick Zateslo. I'm a Tallahassee native, but I've spent the last 25 years of my professional life at the intersection of technology and public policy and business and entrepreneurship, including recently worked directly in AI. And so I understand your skepticism, but I want to tell you it's true, and I look forward to hopefully getting in a truck with you. Let's go to Atlanta. Let's go to Lafayette. Let's look at them. They're huge. They're different than what you're thinking. Let's do something about it. I'm here tonight to help protect our people, our land, and our economy and our environment from what's coming. I've been speaking at county commission meetings across this district and across this region to provide model moratorium legislation and land development code package changes so that we can have that research all together. This isn't a partisan fight. It's the reality of what we're dealing with as people and as citizens here. We need protections like calculating water use based on equipment being installed, not the developers' rosy estimates of what they say they're going to use. We need to make sure that it forces shell companies to disclose the true owners before the applications are filed. And now you're having to make a decision on something you don't even know who you're talking to. And it requires a massive decommissioning bond up front. So in 5 or 10 years, when the tech industry packs up and leaves, and they will, we will not be left facing and footing the bill to clean up another massive industrial site. No county in this state understands the promises and the costs of heavy extractive industry better than Taylor County. We've lived the history of extraction for more than 125 years here. It started with the turpentine camps, then the timber boom, then the sawmills of Foley. Then came the paper industry and the massive pulp mill in the Thin Holloway River, which came with it the exact same promise. You give us your resources, we'll give you the jobs. And for 70 years, the pulp mill actually did some of that, and it provided hundreds of steady generational jobs. Now we're dealing with job loss and environmental destruction that they left behind. Now the fourth wave of extraction is here. Out-of-state developers are actively trying to sell you on hyperscale data centers, what I call AI factories. These are active campaigns running right now telling the people of Perry and some of you that a data center will replace the jobs that the mill took. Commissioners, you have to look at the math. A paper mill requires human beings to run it. An AI factory does not. An approved site right south of here in Polk County is 1,300 acres and uses as much electricity as Tallahassee, Panama City, and Gainesville combined. In one site, one computer. The developers will tout massive job numbers, but you have to read the fine print. Those job numbers are for temporary construction gigs. The permanent operational reality of a hyperscale data center is a few dozen specialized technicians and managers, often imported from out of state, managing an entirely automated facility. These are dark warehouses where robots work and people do not. You get the massive industrial footprint, you get the constant 24/7 hum of cooling equipment, you get diesel exhaust from hundreds of hospital-sized generators. At least the other industries needed people to work. With these, the AI factories, the wealth generated leaves entirely behind. I'm currently running for Congress here in the 2nd District, but today I'm here as a citizen, a tech professional who wants to help make sure our country and our county has the tools and information to protect our people. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to talking with any of you one-on-one if you'd like more information. Thank you.
Senator, can you come back up? I have a question.
Absolutely.
You mentioned the turpentine industry.
Yeah.
Help me understand what you're trying to say there.
So basically, I mean, going back to 1900, you got turpentine camps that came in here and they took the extraction out of the trees, right? Abused people to do it. We all know my grandfather worked in some of those turpentine camps. They abused the people. If you know the turpentine camps, they basically packed up into small groups, and it was almost slave labor out there. It was debt workers, folks that were arrested, and just poor folks out there. And basically, what happened is that we cut all the trees, took the sap out, took the turpentine, and then those trees all died. After the trees died, we went in with timber and we started cutting down all the trees, all the hardwoods, all the cypresses, all the tupelo. We cut down everything and put it through the mills. And then the next thing was paper, soft planted paper. Again, those all at least required humans to do that work. So there were jobs. There was economic drive that I can understand why you made those calls to do and bring in those industries and work with those folks. These are different. And that's why I want to make a difference, because I know what you're thinking. I know it feels like there's going to be jobs. It feels like there's got to be a massive economic input. And I'm just telling you, it's not. Counties and states and communities across the country have been dealing with this now for a few years. It is new though. This AI stuff just came out in 2017. These things are brand new. It's not anyone's fault for not understanding this completely. I'm still learning a lot about it, but I've been in the industry for a few years now, and I've seen it, I've watched it, I understand what's coming, and that's why I'm here to talk about it.
And your name is what?
Nick Zateslo.
How do you make a living?
Well, right now I'm full-time running for Congress here because that's a full-time job, as you all know, just running for office. But before that, I was a tech entrepreneur and basically built businesses and worked in AI professionally, building software and products for folks across the country.
I have a question.
Yes.
Am I correct? We were at a speaker at Republican meeting, and he told us after the data center was built, it will employ probably 12 to 18 people. They will bring their engineers in.
Yep.
There will no people from Taylor County have jobs.
Exactly.
That nobody will have jobs in Taylor County at this center.
And that's the big fight that the county commissioners find out in places that approved them and said, come on in, thinking it's $2 billion investment. That has to be jobs, because in a paper mill, it was jobs, right? In other industries, it is jobs. And these, they just aren't. There just aren't that many full-time jobs, and especially the high-paying ones that they talk about and brag about.
There's many construction workers that's traveling all over this country right now since the paper mill shut down.
Yep.
To try to make a living.
Mm-hmm.
If they could come home and work 2 years building something like a data center, they'd be tickled.
That's short term.
Short term.
Short term.
Well, they can be in New York.
Short term.
They can be short term in New
For
York.
the pollution that we're going to get, no.
I think it's also short-term on the economics, though, because it impacts all sorts of things locally here, too. You can't just look at those short-term construction jobs. You got to look at the big picture of what this brings to the community and what kind of economic damage and environmental damage it does and how much that's going to cost to clean up.
I'm gonna go look and see what about the environmental part of it.
Yeah.
Talk to all the neighbors.
Go to Lafayette. I'll send you some sites, because they're out there. You can go look at
Let's
them.
rent a bus and go to town.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, let's do.
Sir, when you get through, let someone else come.
Yeah, yeah.
Come to the mic and talk to us.
Thank you much.
Yeah, I want to say something, Commissioner. I'm glad that everybody is here. I appreciate you coming out. We're going to listen to every one of you. Everybody that wants to talk can talk, but you can't be talking out from the audience. There's a proper way to address this board, and that is to come to the podium. And we're going to listen to everybody, but let's follow our rules so that we can all speak in a civilized manner.
Good afternoon. How you doing? My name is Deidre Donnell, and my address is 14 Judson Drive. I just wanted to come. I mean, I think what has been presented tonight from Ms. Demi as well as the other individual, I mean, I believe they presented a lot of information, but I just wanted to come forth and say, you know, as a resident of this community, I know what is faced before the community as well as faced before the commission. So it's not just like this is in the lap of the commission as far as what's going on in our community and how we recover from, you know, what has taken place over the last 3 years. But I would like to take in the fact of what I just witnessed here tonight. I mean, I just witnessed tonight where a business came before the commission. And I just witnessed each one of you, as well as people from this community, state what that business meant to this community and the decades it has meant to this community. But I don't see what a data center will offer as to what this business will offer this community. And then just the investment that you have made tonight in this business, I don't see how you're gonna see a turnaround on that investment if you entertain a data center. I don't see how you would think that this investment that we as a community all just made in regards to what we just witnessed here tonight with this business, I don't see how we will as a community be able to see on that return on that investment. I don't see how this business will be able to benefit from it from what we heard tonight with the information that has been presented to us. And just in comparison with the mill, I mean, again, we are still seeing the effects of the mill, but we all know what the mill did bring to this community, the livelihood and the lives that in the decades that have been able to benefit from that. But the mill did produce a tangible outcome. What tangible outcome would a data center produce? And I don't think you're gonna see that when you go visit one. Now, I understand what's faced before you, but also I know we as a community want to know that just because we're in a vulnerable position, you're not gonna allow that vulnerability to make you be hasteful in making a decision that you really have not taken the time to see the long-term effects it will have on the
That's why I
community.
say I'm gonna go.
And I want you to go, but I do want you to
I'm gonna stand in the
also,
parking lot and talk to the employees when they come out.
okay, and
I'm
I
talking to the neighbors
understand
down the
that.
road.
And I understand that, and I want you to do that. I want you to have the information that you need to make a
I
sound
will when I
decision.
leave there.
But I don't want to hear that decision being made from a place of vulnerability because of what you see we're faced with. The community as a whole is faced in that position. You're not in it alone. But I do think this community want to recover and not from a place of vulnerability and things being forced on us. I think we want to be able to come out of the position we in and look down the road, not just 5 or 10 years, but 30, 40 years.
Thank you, ma'am.
Right.
Anybody else?
Thank you so much, Commissioners. I'm Nan Bailey. I am also running for Congress. And I was asked by, I don't live in Taylor County, I live in Tallahassee, but I was asked by residents of Taylor County to come and speak to you today. I'm here to urge you to adopt a moratorium on large-scale data centers until strong protections are in place for Taylor County's health, safety, and environment. Taylor County knows what it means more than just about any other community to bear the burdens while others take the benefits. For generations, outside corporations have come here because of this county's natural resources and the hardworking people. They have made their profits. And then when times have changed, the local communities were left to deal with the consequences. We've seen what happens when decisions are made for short-term corporate gain instead of the long-term well-being of the people who actually live here. We saw it with the paper mill, the munitions factory. We cannot let history repeat itself with these data centers. Modern data centers consume massive amounts of electricity, sometimes as much as small cities. Millions of gallons of water a day. They require new transmission lines, substations. They rely on diesel backup generators that add noise and air pollution. People living nearby and the people working in these data centers have reported health concerns like stress, sleep disturbance, high blood pressure, headaches, nausea. And in return, they often create, like we've heard mentioned, relatively few jobs. A similarly sized manufacturing plant, most of the time, with much smaller capital investments, can create thousands of jobs as compared to the dozens of jobs created with these data centers. And most of the time, most of the jobs that are created are temporary. And we're hearing from a lot of data centers across the country that a lot of times these data centers bring in their own workers to build these centers. So we're not even getting the benefit of the construction. All we're left with is just dozens, sometimes, of employees, and all of these awful environmental and health effects.
The other large problem with these data centers is the way that the process happens. Many times these centers come in, and the owners require NDAs. So much that sometimes the commissioners are not even allowed to talk about what goes with that. The people of Taylor County deserve transparency, they deserve protections. A moratorium is a responsible step at this point so that protections and regulations can be put in place and so that the technology can catch up so that these protections are even feasible. Thank you so much. I hope you take this opportunity to protect the people of Taylor County.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is W. David Polk. I live up in Shady Grove. And, you know, I don't know enough about data centers to say whether they're a good idea or a bad idea, but I do know that knowledge is power. And right behind power comes money. And these data centers, the companies that need them and are going to rely on them, if they decide they're going to come here, they're going to bring a lot of power, a lot of authority, a lot of intimidation. My suggestion to you as a county board is to go ahead and form some kind of opinion on how to deal with this before they start feeding in. Or it's going to be so confusing that nobody's going to know what's really going on until it is already too late. Now, I know y'all are busy, we all are, but I would suggest that you form some kind of fact-finding committee, fact-finding process, however y'all work, y'all know your business better than I do, and find out the facts on how these go. We've heard a lot about the low numbers of employment. That is, I am sure that is true. The state runs a data center up in Tallahassee, and there may only be 5 or 6 security guards in this facility that runs most of the computers for the entire state. It is not a large process. They're all computers they run on their own. Unless something goes horribly wrong, no one goes into that room. And most of these places you will never be allowed to see. I have talked to people who've gone to work in these facilities. To get in to touch these machines requires clearances that would make federal marshals seem kind of shy. Because you are talking about, you flip a switch, you press the wrong button, a couple of $1 billion go away that day. That matters to a lot of people. That's the kind of pressure that you're going to see come in on this. We have to be prepared as a county, as county leaders. We have to know what's going on and have a good solid opinion of what's happening. So when everything starts rolling downhill from these companies, we'll be able to go, well, that doesn't really seem like what's happened in these other places. Here's 4 or 5 places where it's gone differently. How are you going to promise that you're going to be different than all these other places? So I guess what I'm really saying is we need to figure it out. We need to prepare. We can't wait. By the time the company's like, we're going to build a center, more than likely they've already started putting out tendrils that you can't see yet to try and get in there and get that hammered through. You know, because there are a few things more insidious than a large corporation trying to find somewhere people won't notice what they're doing. And Taylor County is a place where you can be unnoticed for quite a while. I think that's why a lot of us like to live here. I certainly like. So it's not really going to be a matter of if, it's going to be a matter of when, because we have the resources they need. We are at a junction where we're going to see transmission lines come through and out. We've all seen that new power system they're building out there toward Monticello. That is huge. I guarantee you that is tying into someone's thoughts about a data center somehow, because that thing is massive. It still irks me how much pine tree natural forest they tore up to put it in. But that's a separate conversation at a separate time. I do appreciate y'all giving me the chance to speak.
Okay. Go ahead. Come on.
Good evening, commissioners, county manager, county attorney, any county staff is here. and my fellow citizens. Diane Whitfield, 6748 Whitfield Lane, Perry, owner-operator, Turkey Roost Nursery, 51-year-old Taylor County business, dependent upon available water. For the first time in 51 years, our main irrigation well is dry. As much as I want to argue with my commissioner, I won't take up my time to do it, but I will at another time. It happened gradually with our main pump failing, and pretty soon, instead of running 40 sprinklers to water thousands of containerized plants, we could water one every hour. So you figure 40 sprinklers, 1 an hour. It took days to water plants. And then finally last week, it wouldn't draw any water at all. Fortunately, Abe Whitfield had an extra well dug in the early 80s to facilitate watering 800 blueberry plants. I didn't know that. We found it under a tarp in a little shed, and the well guy got it going, and it's now saving our nursery. All of that is to say, I'm very aware of the water level, of changes in the Florida aquifer, and how climate change impacts both. And climate change as a scientific reality has been happening since the mill was built and it used all that water, to right now when we're in a drought and our well has never gone dry before, and it's always been the same well. So additionally, I want to be sure that local families and business needs are met before anything new comes into this county, that they're protected. Additionally, I own an Airbnb in town and pay for city and state licenses to run that. I own 8 parcels of land that I pay property tax to do, all in the schools and so forth, 2 in the city, 2 off the beach road, and 4 at 6740. This gives me a very valid, vital interest in what happens to my money, how you allocate it. 20 years ago, I attended most of the county commission meetings in a 2-year period from this room. We met in Jerkin once, we met in Steinhatchee, we met in Shady Grove. I also went to City of Tallahassee meetings and to Jacksonville Regional Utilities meeting because they wanted to build a coal plant, a coal burning power plant in Taylor County, from which Taylor would not get any of the power. Only Leon and Duval would get the power. And Taylor County would get whatever Taylor County got. Burning coal meant air pollution, particulate matter, concern for asthmatics and people with COPD, and mercury drifting into the water. I was shocked that those commissioners lacked due diligence, and I do not want to see that happen again. Your constituents want you to be proactive, to research all aspects, protecting us from hidden harm.
Hey everyone, my name is Dustin Whidden. I never really plan on talking when I come to these things, but it happens this way. I'm on my 2.5 year now of trying to repair the Wells Jewelry Building, trying to work with insurance, paying most people's yearly salary to try to get this thing going, fighting with insurance. I'm here to talk about data centers. So number one, I went back to work in my field, which is a tech-related field. I spent 4 years out of the mill as a maintenance manager, and now I work as an engineer. Number one, I would like to request a moratorium for more information, just right off the rip. For the same reasons that we can't just say it comes in, those are the same, it's just not open up, it's not transparent industry. It's an obvious pump and dump industry. They are running these things in tents. They have no expectation of long-term growth in this whole industry. That's just right off the top. We need to know if we're going to compare apples to apples. We need to know X millions of gallons. Over here was the mill, was hundreds of jobs. Eating in the restaurants. A lot of people bought Pine Tree Farms, contracting companies. Thousands of other second and third and fourth order effect jobs were created. What is that related to here? Simple math. The next one, permit issues. There was one in Georgia that was running 2 undisclosed wells to the tune of 50% more water usage than they were permitted. They were allowed 30 million gallons. They were just drawing 44. And after a year, they just said, well, sorry, here's your back due. But that doesn't change anything. So to say that these things are not happening is to stick your head in the sand. It is happening. It's just a simple Google. You can Google who owns these companies. You can go to their websites. You can look up the CEO. This is so easy to do. Tax abatements. Would they get one? And if so, why? They aren't creating jobs, but they're just going to get the tax abatement. Why? To incentivize them? They're already incentivized by our natural resources. They want to come and have it. So I don't understand that one. EH&S studies, short and long term. Neither one of those are happening. They just aren't there. Just type in EHS studies data center on Google, please. Nothing is there. So I think that's mostly it. The other one, permitting. Solar, they all promise a green option. They all say, can I please use, can we use a generator to get up and running? They always need a thing to get going. This county doesn't do the greatest at oversight when it comes back to stepping back in and saying, hey, we said 12 months on the generators, but where are the solar panels? It's going to turn into 16 and then 18. All of this has to be negotiated and understood up front with full transparency and disclosure. So if we can't get that, and with the amount of people speaking, I don't think no one has enough information to ban. We just need more information, and that's what I think we need, period. Thank you for your time.
Anyone else?
Evening. My name is Trey Blue, 1968 Abner Lane, a lifelong resident of Taylor, 7th generation Taylor County. I'm going to be a little bit redundant here. I didn't anticipate quite so many people speaking on this issue, but I'd like to speak a little bit to the electrical demand in these projects and to address Senate Bill 484 directly. So as has already been stated, these data centers are among the largest consumers of electricity in the country right now. In some cases, a single facility can consume as much as 50 megawatts of power, which has already been said is comparable to some small cities. Supplying that amount of power necessitates new substations, transmission lines, and sometimes new power generation. Under a traditional utility model, those investments are shared between all customers on the grid. This issue has been recognized by Tallahassee recently. Senate Bill 484 took effect on July 1st, and they intend that bill to prevent utility companies from spreading the costs of that electrical construction onto residential and small business customers, and to force large-scale users to bear the burden of those constructions. That bill passed the legislature with bipartisan support and took effect on July 1st. If you have not yet reviewed that, I would encourage you to review SB 484 and to understand what it does and does not protect us from. So first off, the specific ratepayer protections are not yet in effect. They rely on tariff filings that each individual utility company needs to submit for review and approval of the Florida Public Service Commission. They have until October 1st to do that. Duke Energy, which provides a large share of the power in our community, has submitted 2 of those plans. Both of those have been challenged for not adequately protecting their customers. So that regulation is currently under dispute right now in Tallahassee, Duke's plan regarding these tariffs. Second, the tariff regulations in SB 484 seemingly apply only to investor-owned utilities. In Taylor County, our other major utility provider, Tri-County, is not investor-owned. It's a member-run utility cooperative. And right now, whether co-ops are even subject to those regulations has not been tested. I can't find where anybody even agrees on whether they are or not subject to those regulations. Third, the legislation is designed to protect the ratepayers, but it does not determine whether or not a project should be located in our community. This task was purposely left up to the community. SB 484 states clearly that local governments retain jurisdiction over comprehensive planning and land development projects for large load customers such as data centers. The citizens of this community have a right to know before any decisions are made on this type of project. how many megawatts are involved, who will construct the infrastructure, what written assurances are there that the families here who are already dealing with expensive power bills are not going to be left on the hook to subsidize the projects. The legislature has given themselves a 1-year deadline to complete an independent study of data center development. If Tallahassee is still studying this issue, then we certainly have a right to pause and do so as well. I ask you to please exercise that right and support the moratorium. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Good evening, I'm Donna Spoon. I live at 1214 Stevensville Road in Steinhatchee. I come to this county in the last 5 years, but I spent 25 years working for the state of North Carolina where I retired. And one of my jobs there was to serve as the governor's advisor on another technical issue that happened about 20 years ago, which was genomics. I pulled together a statewide committee and panel who advised the governor on what the benefits were, as well as the health concerns, as well as the environmental concerns. And that's all we're asking this community to do. Communities all over Florida have already done that. They're not dummies. They've already put things in place that we can utilize in our community. We ask you to do that. You don't have to reinvent the wheel unless you have ulterior motives. And I question some of your motives tonight. There are over 700 communities across the United States that have already stopped this process and put a moratorium on. Are they crazy? Are they all communists? No. They simply want to approach this problem with measured time and look at everything as it should be looked at. That's all we're asking. You heard from residents all over the community tonight, and I can guarantee you there's 1,000 people on those requests who signed the petition, but there are thousands more in this community who are against this. They want you to wait. And when you start to approach this without waiting, you'll see the problems that it will cause. Your responsibility as a county commissioner is great. I realize we are facing some of the greatest tax deficits in the history of this county. We want our county to grow. We want it to succeed. And it's going to. We know that change is coming, and we're for that. But we also aren't in 1947. We're in 2026, and we know what health problems are. We know what environmental problems are. We've experienced those. You've been experiencing for 75 years or longer. So why do you need to think about this? Why do you need to think about a moratorium? We can look at other ways to boost our economy besides an AI center. AI center, a data center, is the easiest. But it will bring long-term health conditions, decreased clean water, higher energy costs, and even power disruptions. It's been known that within 20 miles of an AI center, the most power disruptions on the grid occur. So we could expect that on a regular basis. This decision you make in the future regarding the construction of AI data centers is probably one of the most important you will ever make on this commission. I'm asking you to do the right thing. Listen to your community and what they're saying as we work to make this a healthy environmental for your children and your grandchildren, as well as all the people here's children and grandchildren. And people that want to move, they're looking for a community that wants to grow in a positive way. They're not looking for a community just to live in. They're looking for a healthy community.
environmentally safe community. And there's many people that have left this county and are working in other parts of Florida because they can't find jobs here. Get jobs that help this community, not just meet 2 years of employment. I'm asking you to do the right thing for your children, your grandchildren, and all the people of Tupelo County. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Good evening. My name is Jesse Ravinsky. I live at 1179 Max Mission Road. I moved here about 5 years ago, just before the hurricanes. It's on the place listed. 1 acre, beautiful little 2-bedroom house. That's what I wanted. I saw it. Done. 10 minutes. Full price. Off. Do it. Buy this house. I want to be here. It took me a few minutes to just look at this whole area to know that this is where I wanted to be. I wanted to own my land, my dirt here, right here. I love it here. Like, I'm overwhelmed by the fact that you can just drive around and just look and just enjoy the outside here, the nature. It's crazy. I was born and grew up in Brevard County, Florida. Where? Brevard County, Melbourne, West Melbourne area. It was a lot like this about 25 years ago. And that's what I saw here. I saw where I grew up. It was just like it was 25 years ago. It's not like that anymore. I couldn't stay there. It wasn't the same. It wasn't Florida.
850 people moving to Florida a day.
Absolutely. I love Florida. I do. I tried Dallas. I tried Tennessee. I tried a little bit, big city, a little something different. But Florida is my home. My family's been here 1845, I believe, 8 months after the state was created. They had a very large part in creating this entire state. When I hear about the data centers, I understand most people don't understand not just what it is, what it's called, what it looks like, what it's supposed to do, what it could provide for us. They don't have any clue of what this really is and what it's doing. And no one's even brought this up tonight. And the reality is, someone could question, what data? You say data center. Data is a very vague word. The data, this is your personal data. This is all the stuff that you don't want. All that, it's a personal data refinement center. It's a giant, massive computer that is designed to just process all of it. It's talking about all of us. Every second of the day. Cameras, we type in our phones, it's all being processed through that. Refined, essentially, processed, and sold to who knows. But information is the absolute biggest commodity in this current economy. And that's what they want. And to get that, they need water. They need electricity. But most importantly, they have their eyes on our water. The aquifer here has naturally cooled and clean water. They want to spray that directly onto the servers, essentially. Most efficient, fastest, cheapest way. It's simple. It's as simple as that. They want our water. They already see us. They are looking at us. We are targeted. I mean, there's a lot of precautionary stuff here, but they are looking at us. Absolutely. I can tell you they are looking at us. And I'm scared. I don't get out of bed for anything less than a threat to my own home. And Florida is my home, and I'm a little scared. That's why I'm here tonight. And I need to tell people that this is a serious thing, and it's going to destroy everything in its way, unfortunately. Thank you.
Anyway, my name's Rachel. I own property here since 2012. I have family here, my sister, and my mom, my sister, my son. So I read a lot about data centers and what's going on in different parts of the world, parts of the country, here in Texas a lot, Louisiana, Atlanta. And they're, you know, they make all these promises that they're gonna bring jobs and, you know, that they'll be, you know, mindful of the natural resources and, you know, they're not gonna poison the water or anything like that. I mean, Florida is what? Our aquifer is only like, what, 25 feet below surface? I mean, that's how deep my well is and I got water. So, I mean, it's critical to have water and half the county has wells, you know? So, I mean, from what I understand, the noise from these data centers can go up to 5 miles. So, I mean, what are you gonna put one where there's more people for 5 miles? You know, let alone, you know, polluting water underground, you know? It's very upsetting to even realize that. I know Leon County just had a moratorium and Walton County and several other counties in Florida have done this. So I would really encourage having a committee to do more research on the pollution, the noise, you know, how it affects the environment, animals in particular. Here in Texas, they were talking about that, you know, the cows aren't producing calves, you know, women are having miscarriages and things like that. You know, these are all people that live within several miles, you know, of a data center, huge ones. So anyway, I guess that's pretty much all I want to say is, you know, I really hope that you consider a moratorium or at least forming a committee to do more research on how these things will affect this county and the people here. I like Taylor County. I actually have a house in Pinellas County. I go down there for my doctors and stuff, and I hate it down there, the traffic and everything. You know, it's just peaceful here, and, you know, if you have a data center here, people won't be able to sell their homes, and people won't want to move here either. So, you know, you may think that it's going to get you tax money or tax dollars or whatever, but I highly doubt that it's really going to be worth it in the end. So that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else? Come on.
Hey, everybody, I'm Justin Brock. I think my family's been here for around 7 generations, long time. Anyway, I'm a registered nurse. I've been trying to look into the health effects of people that live around these data centers. And from what I'm seeing, it's not good. What I'm reading, and this is coming from, you know, researchers that are going to the places where the data centers already are and doing these studies. I don't know if you know what cortisol is. That's our stress hormone. If your cortisol levels are increased, that can increase like full body systemic inflammation, which raises the risk of cancer. So that's, and I'm not a good public speaker, you know, I know my voice is a little shaky. Anyway, that's my concern, is that we're going to allow something in here that is going to have detrimental health effects to our children, grandchildren, expecting mothers. What's it doing to the fetus? You know, these are some major concerns. And once this place starts, you know, the ball gets rolling. These companies, we don't even really know who they are. So there's little transparency. And once they're here, they're here. They pretty much do what they want. And I just would hate that for our community. That's really all I have to say.
Thank you.
I would appreciate it if y'all would do a moratorium. At least. So please consider that. Thank you.
Anyone else?
name is Velma Tedder Hinkson. I live on 1265 Hinkson Town Road, 55 years. I was born in Stanhatchee, Florida, in 81. My people, the Tedders, Pages, Popples, settled Taylor County. This is my home, and I don't ever want to live anywhere else. I've been on Hinkson Tanner Road for 55 years. We built in the middle of a cornfield. And my neighbors down Ellison Road, their wells are going dry. The neighbor's pond caved in. Pond there for years. My pond's been dry, cypress trees, probably 200 years old, dead. No water. I just wonder, how is our office? I was 10 years old when Buckeye came in here. I remember the conversations. I remember my daddy saying, he called my mom Peapie, that mill's gonna come in and I'm gonna get a job. There were no jobs. That's true. We've seen hard times before and we survived. I wonder if Buckeye knew something about the water going our aquifer. They had, I think, 7 wells going out there, like you said, pumping millions of gallons. They closed in a hurry. Now wells are going dry. Ponds are caving in. Can this county stand another millions of gallons of water pumped out every day? Can we stand that? Is it worth it? For 2 years of construction workers that maybe will come in and build this plant. Maybe. We've already had somebody tell us it's not going to employ maybe 25 people. We've seen hard times before. I was born with an outdoor toilet and a kerosene lamp. I pumped water, and I still have the wash pot that we wash clothes in. I pumped water when I had to jump to pump it to help Mama fill the wash pot and the wash tubs before I started school. We've seen hard times before, but don't take my county. Let's keep our natural resources. I don't want to live in Atlanta. I got a daughter in Atlanta. She'll furnish me a house to live in. I don't want to go there. I got a daughter in North Carolina. I don't want to go there. And people are moving here every day. I'm just telling you, people, I beg you, I pray, do not let a data center come in here. Please.
Anyone else? Anyone got anything on the chest they want to get off? Board members?
Yes,
Go ahead.
I'll speak first. Again, I appreciate everyone coming. We're obligated, in my opinion, to listen to everybody's opinion. That's what it's all about. So what I would like to do, I would recommend to this board that we put in a moratorium through December the 31st. That's a temporary moratorium. And that way, that will give everybody the chance, if you need to go or whatever you need to do. We can also, have other people to come speak to us that's had data centers and hear all the pros and cons for some other people. But I would say that we hold off until through December the 31st. And I'll make that into a motion.
Get the others. Okay. Hold on. Mr. Miller?
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do appreciate the input from this evening. I do have other information that I've recently received in respect to areas that have, instituted data centers. And the information is conflicting, I would say that, but I don't have, the amount of information that's necessary to say that, you know, we have to have a 6 month timeframe or a moratorium in place. So I'm appreciative for the information, and I'm certainly appreciative for the folks' concerns. But I don't have information that's in only the favor of, you know, putting this type of policy in place. So I would not be able to support that.
Wow.
I'm gonna say one thing. Y'all need this. I appreciate y'all coming and I appreciate y'all's effort and y'all's research. But I'm the type of person, before I stick my hand out there on the bull, I'm gonna see how long the horns are. So, you know, I'm gonna look at it real good, and I'm gonna look at this data center business real good. I'm going to several data centers. I'm gonna talk to the neighbors. I'm gonna talk to the county commissioners, city councilmen, whoever I can hem up, and the people working there. I'm gonna be standing in the parking lot, ask them, you know, how long they've been there and how many people's employed. But, at this time, I want to let it go without, we'll just have to wait and see. What people really need to worry about is the gray water coming from Jacksonville, the sewage water that's gonna be pumped in North Florida. That's what they need to worry about first before a data center. Because that's on the count. There's a lot of pressure being put on people to come with the gray water out of Jacksonville, pumping in North Florida right now. They want to pipe it all the way over in North Florida and pump it in the ground.
I'm worried about both of those.
Worried about all those issues. And to you to sit there and tell us that the people in this county doesn't matter, that we can't have a 6 month moratorium is ridiculous.
That's what I said, ma'am. Please don't mistake what I said.
Oh, we heard exactly what you said. We heard exactly. And why don't you share your information you have, if you have information that is
The
conflicting?
information that I have doesn't agree with all of your terms. It doesn't, it's not the same.
Where is the dialogue here? Where is the dialogue?
Well, Mr. Chairman, I've made my statement.
Comment,
You
please.
should probably look at your bank account.
Yes.
Hey, that's out of line, fellas.
That is bullshit.
That's way out of line.
Okay, we'll go. We'll leave. No problem. Sorry, we're out of line. We'll go.
Go ahead, Shannon.
One of my requests was a workshop on the matter. Would this board consider a workshop where you could present what information you have, Mr. Newman?
I don't have a problem with workshops. I've been
I would-
more information.
I would-
Put forward as fact-based, sure.
I would recommend that we do a workshop.
That's one reason that we're here, to make sure something isn't going on otherwise that we aren't aware of.
Absolutely.
Ma'am, I haven't said one way or the other. I'm just telling you the information I've been given doesn't line up completely with the information.
Okay, we're requesting a workshop where we can be informed of what's going on.
Sure.
That doesn't mean we can share.
Have you signed an NDA, sir?
No, I haven't.
Has anyone in this room signed a non-disclosure agreement?
I have.
What's the question?
Have
I can't
anyone
hear
in this
from back
room?
there.
Already signed an NDA.
What did it say?
NDA.
Non-DA, non-disclosure agreement. About a workshop, about a data center? Is that what you're
Yes.
on?
Yeah.
I don't know anything about it. Haven't been brought to us yet.
That's what we're asking.
I checked today, and as of today, I was told that no data center has contacted Taylor County. We're not in negotiations or talks with one right now. Nothing. But I'd still like to have a 6 month moratorium to give everybody a chance to do their due diligence and have people to come speak to us. And, you know, that's where I'd like for us to be.
That's a minimum
Can I ask
request.
a quick question?
Minimum.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
I come up to the podium. I don't mind coming back up to the podium. And I just want to ask this question to, Mr. Newman and Mr. Moody. I mean, there was a request for this to be put on the agenda, and I mean, clearly, this has been in discussion, like I say, throughout the state. We're not the first community that have had and expressed these concerns. So I do believe that you guys have had more than enough time to research and get information. So even tonight, with just the information that has been presented to here, where you can speak as to what information you have that will make you think it's not a good idea for you to take a little more time, so you can really hear from the community, as well as, like I say, take the concern that the community has expressed tonight into consideration, because again, you guys are elected by the people, but in the same point, you are the ones faced with the decisions, but those decisions don't just lay in your lap. You won't be the only people here living with the decisions that's been made. So I think you have more than enough attendance here tonight that's just asking you to, like the gentleman said earlier, don't wait till certain amount of information been dangled in your face. Just put something in place that the community will know that you are doing your due diligence and how you approach making this decision from the community standpoint, not just from environmental standpoint, I mean, an economic standpoint.
Mr. D,
Yeah.
I think we need to have a workshop.
But even with a workshop, Mr. Jones, I think the community needs some type of assurance that you guys will take the time to make this decision.
This is the first time I heard of this Taylor County wanted to know about a data center. I've heard something about data centers, and that's all I can hear. But the last 4 months, I've been riding up and down the road. I rode from Michigan all the way to Perry. And when I got to Valdosta, Georgia, it's when it looked like wall-to-wall buildings, developments, stuff. And I was told one time, we don't want it to look like Tampa, but I was also told about 2 years ago, it won't look like Perry, it look like Greensville. You know, we got people in Perry that left Perry, and they can't get a job here because there's nothing to do. I'm not saying a data center, but there's other industry out there. I don't want to put a moratorium on nothing until we get all the facts. And I
The
wouldn't
concern that the community expressed just does not take into consideration.
Hey, what now?
I'm just saying, you guys are not interested in taking the concern that the community has expressed.
Oh, I said-
That they're asking you to put something in place. and
Not
it's
tonight,
showing your
not
concern.
tonight. I said-
I didn't ask tonight, Mr.
Okay,
Sims. I'm
yeah.
just saying, can you give us some assurance tonight that you are going to consider the information that was
We're gonna
presented?
consider the information, and I also say we need a workshop. There's others in the community want to talk. And just invite you all. If we have to move to Forest Chapel Hall, it'd be okay with me.
I just want to make sure that you
Yeah.
guys are not going to make a hasty decision, and it seems tonight that you're, right now, just the four of you guys that are here, it seemed like two of you are willing to entertain information, but other two are set in stone and what decision they would like to make.
Well, it's 5 of us all together now.
I know it's not five of you all together, I'm just saying tonight, I just think that there is information that's going on throughout the state that should at least give you guys, like I say, the desire.
You haven't been talking to other folks, you ain't got it.
Excuse me?
If you think we haven't been talking to others, I have been talking to others.
I know you guys travel, I know you go throughout the state, and I know you got opportunity to entertain a lot of information that this community don't even have when it comes to business and industry. And so that's what I'm saying, being that you're going to these different places and you having these conversations, just still keep in mind what your residents are saying. Not just what they're saying, because they don't live here, we do.
Let me tell you something when you stand there. If I go and find out there's an issue that really they can prove to me that there's an issue reaching, don't want a data center, I'll be right with you 100%. But do I can see it and put my hands on it and talk to the people that's working there and the ones that haven't, I'm just gonna be the way I am with it.
Well,
But
Mr.
I'll
Booth,
back
part of
you
your
100% if I find out.
responsibility is to be proactive, and being that this is already discussion throughout the state, you would think you have already taken those, like I say, steps to go and do that, not just wait to go and do that. Look like you would already took those steps before you had this meeting tonight. That's all I'm
Look at that
saying.
new Google plant they building out of town, and I'm gonna go start.
Well, I want you to do your due diligence, because I know you tasked with a great responsibility. I'm just saying, I don't want the decision to be made out of haste and what you guys are thinking. I would like for you guys to really, like the other person said tonight, this is not just a decision that's gonna impact us now and during the building phases. It's gonna have long-term effects after that. And so I just wanna make sure that while you're going and saying you're looking to do that research, that you're gonna be looking for that type of information, not just standing in a parking lot talking to an employee. Cause I don't know how you're gonna go to a data center and think.
If I can't get in the plant, I'll know there's something wrong right then.
Excuse me?
That's like if they won't let me in one of them, I'll know something's wrong with it right then.
Well, then just tell them they don't.
I guarantee you.
I guess you gotta do it.
Mr. Jim.
Okay, good.
Go up, Justin, go up.
Okay.
Mr. Jim.
Mr. Moody.
Could we at least extend the moratorium until you're able to go visit some of those places?
To give you time
To give y'all time.
before
I can't
somebody
do it, I
comes
can't
in.
do it tonight. I just can't do it. I just don't.
A temporary.
We not, there's nobody come to us talking about that stuff.
TCDA just had a presentation on June the 11th.
Yeah, he talked about it, but we hadn't talked to no company and they hadn't been here presenting themselves or nothing. It's way off if it even ever comes to down the road. But it'll give me time in the next 2 to 3 months to go visit several of them and do my research on it and talk to the neighbors and talk to the people at the hospital. If they had issues, if they had,
moratorium then.
if they had people come in there and that's sick for working there, I'm gonna ask a lot of questions.
How about a 3-month moratorium?
I can't do them all. You ain't got, if I find out it's bad, I'm gonna be right with you 100% against it myself. I will.
Really quick, I just think there's a misunderstanding fundamentally here that the reason that a moratorium is being asked for is to give you and everybody in the community time to research this issue before a company comes in with a big offer tomorrow and tries to sweep you off your feet. It gives you time to make an informed decision. That's why we're asking for a moratorium. It's not a permanent ban. It's just, let's take a pause, take a breath, give ourselves time to make an informed decision.
I got to worry about sweeping me off my feet, boss.
Sir,
I'm gonna get some answers before I do anything with it.
it doesn't sound like it.
Okay.
Sir, everything you're saying tells me that you are not considering both sides of this. You have information. 6 weeks ago, Mr. Cates presented before this group. That's why I'm here.
You got your own opinion.
That's why we're all here.
That's right. And I appreciate you
Because
coming.
you weren't going to bring this before the community. You were going to get this by us, and we're not going to stand for it.
When I first heard of a data center,
Do you know what they are? Do you know what they look like inside?
a giant computer,
Yeah, and what, do you know how it works?
what I've seen on the internet that I've researched, I know enough about it so far. I know, but I got to look at it and talk to the people.
Okay, so this is not something that you go to a center and talk to. 6,000 communities across the United States have already made decisions. Do you think they're idiots?
I didn't say that, ma'am. I'm not saying they're idiots just because they made a moratorium. I just know I'm not doing it tonight. You can get over
She
that.
has already made the proposal, put a 6-month moratorium.
Wait a minute.
Thank you.
Just wait a minute. If you're going to consider a moratorium, you've got to pass an ordinance on it. You know the provision, the way you do an ordinance, right? You tell me to prepare one, you tell me to prepare a notice, and we have a hearing on it. You understand that? Right. So what you would need to do would be a motion, if you decided to think about it, would be to say, Mr. Bishop, prepare a proposed ordinance and a notice of hearing, just like we did with the Roy's Restaurant, which y'all passed the ordinance tonight. Y'all follow me?
Yeah.
I just
That's
want
my
everybody.
motion. That's my motion.
That was your motion? Okay.
I think that's.
You're gonna amend it?
Yes.
All right. I just want everybody to understand. Did y'all hear me?
Yes, yes, sir.
All right.
I mean, I know we have to go through certain steps, but
You know, and you've got, and in your package, you've got, a number of ordinances as
Already done.
already done, and like I've told you many times, there's no such thing as plagiarism in the law.
Amen.
I heard you, Angela.
Mr. Newman, and I'll second that motion.
Thank you. We need to call for a vote.
You're gonna be roll call, ma'am?
Yes, please.
Commissioner, Beagle,
Yes.
Commissioner Dent, Commissioner Newman, Commissioner Moody.
No.
So can we, what do we do, Mr. Bishop? Do we wait until we have a full board and bring it back
It
again?
can always be brought back again.
Back out.
It can always be brought back.
That's another agenda.
Oh.
But I think Commissioner Demps was wanting to have a workshop also.
Right.
Okay. Y'all want a workshop?
Of course.
Okay, well, that's your job, right?
And I do know, to speak to that, we do need to look at our code, our land development code, and see if there are any gaps in our code that, that we need to address.
Certainly. Okay, so we'll have, we're gonna have a workshop, right?
Majority vote.
Sir?
The guy's gonna like the majority vote.
Yeah, yeah.
But you want this on the July workshop agenda. Is that enough time?
What day is July? In July, 28th, 29th?
July 28th.
Time enough. Time enough, July 28th.
All right.
And where will this be? Will that include us?
The public is always
Where
invited
will
to
this
all our
be?
meetings.
I recommend a larger venue for that.
Yeah, that might make me.
Sometimes the acoustics
Was that-
are the best.
Yeah, that's the one.
Is there any other options?
Yeah, we can host it.
August would be better for me. August would be better for me. Because there's some, want to have other speakers here, pros and cons about it.
I'm sorry, I missed part of the conversation. Oh, August.
Yes.
Well, we were discussing venue too. If we need a larger venue, and I was explaining to Ms. Deming that sometimes acoustics can be a little bit of a challenge, but do you want to plan on a different venue for August?
Yeah, I mean, for anyone that wants to go and look at data centers, and do whatever kind of research that each one of us wants to do, then we need to have adequate time to make that happen. And to say that by, July the 28th, that might not be possible for all of us. So, we need time to do our due diligence, find out anything else we can, get some speakers. And I don't know, we need to talk about that, who would be.
Sure, absolutely.
I'm sure you need environmentalists, you need economists, and just whoever else can give us facts from both sides so that we can make the proper decision at the proper time. And that's why I asked for a moratorium, not saying that we're for or against it necessarily, just to make sure that things are put on hold until everybody can do what they need to do. But, that's already been decided. We're not gonna do that, so, I would prefer to, when would the August,
August 25th.
yeah, that would probably be better.
20 what?
Do you have a venue in mind?
Or Capitol Hall?
Well, let me caution you about the acoustics there. That can sometimes be a challenge. So, we could look at, that's an option, but there's also the courthouse.
I think that's better.
The courthouse, okay.
The acoustics are terrible at Forest Capitol Hall.
Yeah, I'm just afraid that would be a challenge.
Could the courtroom in the
We'll advertise it, but we'll let everyone know. I'll check
I mean, the
on.
courtroom, could that be available at the
Possibly, yes, ma'am. It should, I can't.
I know,
mean,
you
we
can't
keep
say that, right.
Venues, but I don't anticipate a problem. Thank you, sir.
August 20.
August, okay.
Thank you for coming. Thank you all for coming.
Yes.
Your participation has weight for me. I know it doesn't mean much, but it does have weight to me.
Thank y'all, Mr. Dent. Thank you, Mr. Bishop.
Okay.
Before I leave, I just want to speak to being swept off your feet. 20 years ago, 5 commissioners, they were swept off their feet with a bombing range. And then they were swept off their feet with a coal-powered power plant, coal-fueled power plant, swept off their feet. Come in bombing range, come in, Taylor County wants you.
Yeah.
Come in, power plant,
They know your base. The beach, right? With the Bomber Beach.
on the coast.
All right, we will go with county staff. The board to approval of awarding Ovid Solutions LLC, the CDBG-DR, and MIT Grant Administrative Environmental Services contract per the recommendation of the bid committee as agendaed by Melanie Cox, grant writer.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Melanie.
As you know, we received 7 proposals to be the grant administrator for CDBG, MIT funds, and CDBG-DR. The review committee, which consisted of Ms. Wanda, Sarah Grambling from GMH, and myself, are recommending Ovid Solutions. They had the highest score at 278 out of 300 points. Their fee schedule fell right in line, which is allowable with Florida Commerce and the CDBG-DR MIT grant. Also, they will be providing the environmental services, which was also right in line with with Florida Commerce. So we are requesting we move forward with awarding a contract to Ovid.
Motion to approve.
Second. Motion is second, all in favor? Aye.
Chairperson, Melody, we still need to bring the actual contract back to the board, correct?
Yes, we will bring the actual contract back to the board after Florida Commerce approves it. We will bring it back for approval and for signature.
Okay. So item 20, the board to review and consider approval of letter to the Florida Department of Environmental Protection, Land and Water Conservation Fund to amend the scope of work and grant agreement LW 719 for the renovation of Hodges Park, remove the construction of restroom, add the construction of a basketball court, a tether ball area at the Hodges Park, and agendas by Melanie Cox.
Well, as you know, we all discussed this at the last board meeting, and it is just the official letter to the Land and Water Conservation Fund grants manager requesting that change to amend, to take out the restrooms, which will be fully funded with Restore Act funds, and have the basketball and tetherball area to be a combination of Restore and Land and Water Conservation funds. This will move the project along quicker with Land and Water Conservation to be able to maintain that grant. And we feel like we can get the basketball court obviously completed much quicker than we could restrooms. The basketball court and tetherball area does not require permitting. And we feel like we can have that completed by the end of August, as Land and Water Conservation has indicated to us they want to see some work complete. Just so you know, for your reference, over the past week and a half, we have obtained the quotes we need for the picnic tables, for the volleyball areas, and I'm finalizing the quotes on the playground equipment, so that should start moving along by the end of July.
Okay,
Motion approved, Chairman.
got a second?
Discussion.
Go ahead.
Discussion. I don't want anybody to think that I am okay with not building the restrooms and putting in a tetherball and basketball. But the problem is, we're backed up in a corner because this has been extended and there was not enough administrative oversight to make sure that this was done in a timely manner so that we didn't have to do this to keep from losing the funds. This is unacceptable. But I have to vote for this because basically this is the only thing that we can do to save the funds from being taken away. But I'm not happy. I am not happy with this at all. And here we've got porta potties down there for our people to use. That's a shame. Shame on us.
Well, I tell you what, Pam, I was down in Tampa, Orlando. They had one project down there that was 10 years. Wasn't there by myself. Well, I wasn't on the county commissioner there either. Did we hear these projects sometimes takes that long to?
Yes, sir. We sure did. As a matter of fact,
Several.
their funds were much greater and they're not fiscally constrained county. They had, quite a large staff.
Had 3,000 employees.
Yes, sir, I believe that's correct.
But I want to tell you, if you did take the time to look at the timetable that I asked her to prepare for us, and it goes back to 2017, when we decided to do what we're going to do to Hodges Park, and you see the gaps. And I asked for details for every year. And when you see the gaps where nothing was done, nothing. And then all the extensions that we had because nothing had been done, so we had to keep extending. So no, I don't buy that excuse at all.
Ms. Nix, if I could say, I did look into the timeline. As a matter of fact, I'm aware of other circumstances that were taking place during this time that we're discussing. So the statements that just nothing was being done is it's not adequate and it's absolutely inaccurate.
That's not
Because
true.
I do know that our staff was working through this laborious process, which is managed by the federal government, Department of the Treasury, is where these funds are facilitated through. And it's quite a difficult process if somebody hasn't picked up on that already. But what I will say, even to the point that our own engineer was working back during part of this time, because a topographic survey was required by our friends at the Treasury. Now, we didn't want to spend the funds to do a topographic survey at Hodges Park, but we were required to, and we not only were required to, but we were required to go through that process of procurement of their vendors so that it would be acceptable. So this is just one instance. And it wasn't during a time where nothing was being done. It was a time when this laborious process was being navigated through. So there are more of those type situations when we talk about COVID and all of these different outages where folks weren't able to keep things going forward at a pace in which we would expect and would certainly like to see. But we're also bound by the directives of the Department of Treasury. And so while we would certainly want to be able to move locally faster, and very likely we could, we're also bound by their terms in order to get the funding. If we don't do that, then we're ineligible for the funding. So it is not accurate to say that our staff was doing nothing. That is not true.
Mr. Newman, you don't know what you're talking about.
Well, of course not, because I didn't live through it. I'm just fabricating all this information.
If you look at the timetable that she did, there were lots of gaps in there, and that topography study came down the list. But there is no excuse for all the extensions we had, and you can't keep blaming COVID and the storms for our inadequacies. That dog don't hunt anymore.
Well, you can label it whatever you want, but the reality is, I don't need a timeline because I was here during the time it was taking place and working with our engineer and our county administrator. So I appreciate that you may need a timeline for your reminders, but I have a recollection and understanding of what I experienced in real time. So thank you for
You
the
got a
reminder.
short memory,
Well,
Commissioner.
I may have, but it's not that short, and it's much more accurate, and it's actually by the numbers. Because I did speak with Mr. Dudley in reference to these surveys that were required. And I did agree with him that we shouldn't have to do these things. And so I also agreed to him, with him and our county administrator, that we would take the measures to not have to spend the funds on a survey that's not necessary for this renovation. But
You
it
had the
is
last
still a
word,
process. It's a process
You've had the
that we're
last
going
word, we're
through.
done.
I would have had the last word when I say so. But for you to continue to badger our staff and to perpetuate that they're doing nothing is not a reflection of this commissioner's experience. I don't believe it's a reflection of this body. And I would appreciate it if you would stop it. Because it hasn't been voted upon for you to take up these measures to create all these hostilities within our county staff's workplace. So
That's
please
not
stop.
true. You look at the timeline that she prepared, and that says it all. And I have never said that nobody did nothing. That's not true. But what needed to be done was not done in a timely fashion, or we wouldn't be 9 years into a project and our people having to use porta potties.
Did we have a motion on that? Did we need a motion?
Yes, sir, there's a motion and a second, I believe.
All right, and we voted?
I believe we did, yes, sir.
All in favor?
Fine.
Aye. Okay. We'll go to item 21.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Melvin. The board to consider legal action in regard to code enforcement case, Taylor County versus Ronnie Brogdon, as agendaed by the county attorney.
There was an order, if I may, entered by the magistrate that we need, on this particular piece of property that, there was abandoned property on it. There's an order entered. I was just wanting to know if y'all want me to file suit on this for the collection of, or to get the property moved, for the injunction that I've done on other cases.
Well, the thing is, when code enforcement has visited somewhere and they've made a recommendation and it goes to the magistrate, I think that we should follow through. That's my feeling, unless you know something different.
That's what I'm asking y'all to tell me to do. To follow through.
Because if we're not, what good is it to not even have a code enforcement if we're not gonna put teeth into it?
Yes, ma'am.
What do you need, Mr. Bishop? You need
Motion to move forward with this.
a motion to move forward? Do I have a motion?
Motion?
Do I have a second?
Second.
Favor? Let's go. Do we need to do a roll call?
Just
Motion
call
second.
for a vote.
Okay, popular vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Thanks, friends, neighbors.
Number 23 next. The board to consider letter of request to review coverage of the Florida Association of County Trust as agendaed by the county attorney. Is that you?
Commissioner Dent,
Or did we skip?
we
one?
need 22, please.
Board to consider execution of deed and resolution to donate county-owned property to the school district as agendaed by the county attorney.
Motion to read the resolution by title only?
Second. Motion second, read by title only, Mr. Bishop.
Yes, sir. Resolution of the Board of County Commissioners of Taylor County, Florida, to authorize the chairperson of the board to execute a county deed, quitclaim deed, to the district school board of Taylor County, Florida.
Motion to approve the resolution.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, then there's the deed, that's attached also. I tried to tell them how to do it, but they want to do it their way, so not not the school board. Quick claim deed is the quick claim deed. I suppose I like to do it on the way the statute reads for our, the way we do our deeds, but, they wanted to put it different. The person that prepared it wanted to put it differently, and I really don't have a problem. I'm not going to throw a monkey wrench into that, so to speak. So need a motion to execute the quick claim deed to the school board. I think I see the school board attorney out there.
I'm just here as a citizen tonight, Conrad.
Thank goodness you didn't have anything to say.
Or need a motion?
Second.
Motion second, all in favor? Aye. Okay.
That's all I have on those two things. Y'all,
The next one is not yours. The board to consider letter request to review the coverage of the Florida Association of Counties Trust as agendaed by the county attorney.
Conrad, this is just the appeal for the Phelps case.
oh yeah, that's mine too. I thought I was done. Okay. As y'all know, we've been sued, and I filed an answer in affirmative defense to that lawsuit. It's Phelps versus Taylor County. And I really requested that that our insurance company provide a defense for that, and it was denied first. So I appealed it, and it was denied. Well, we got one more appeal to go. It's not to the court, it's to the our carrier. And what I need is a motion to allow the chairperson or the vice chairperson to sign a letter to the trustees to review it and see if they will change their decision. I don't know that they will or not, but no guts, no glory, because you're going to be defended anyway, because I'm going to defend it.
Motion.
Second? Second. Motion second, all in favor?
Okay,
All right.
so what I'll do, Luana, is I'll prepare a letter to be signed, but it will need to be put on county stationery, okay? I think that's all, unless there's something else.
I think it's it, Mr. Bishop, unless you're gonna work with Hampton Springs Park. The board to continue discussion regarding the kayak launch at the Hampton Spring Park as attended by the county administrator.
I'll stay away from that boat.
Okay.
So the question was, for me to bring back to the board was regarding permitting that was required for boat ramp improvements. And the answer that I received from staff was that, it will require FDEP and USACE permitting review. FWC and other environmental groups may also have input depending on the historical and cultural history of the site. So, there will be at least a 30 to 90-day process once a permit application is submitted. Also, I had a call from Bish Clark. He wanted staff to meet him on site to even determine where this ramp may go. So there was, on top of it, there was an email from a private citizen who had concerns about water quality. So, with permission from the board, I'd like to schedule an on-site visit with staff and Mr. Clark and others in that group to try to determine the location of where this boat ramp would go. Then we will have to submit permit applications to the appropriate agencies. And I've also asked DEP to provide any feedback they can regarding water quality at that location, since there was a concern, and I should have an answer this week. So I just need permission, some direction from the board on how to proceed.
Motion for staff to move forward with the process that she just described.
Second. Motion second. All in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, Luana, you got the next one? 25, the board to consider approval of format of grant report as agenda by the county administrator.
So Commissioner Beagle asked that I prepare an active or ongoing grants report in a particular format that it's in front of you. And I just wanted to bring the format back to the board and see if this is what if you have any other areas you wish to add. Is this something that you wish to see during a workshop? I just need some direction from the board.
I think the form is very good.
As you can see, the way it was set up, we'll have a running total of active grants, which I think right now are at $68 million. And it's broken down by the category of the grant. Once grants are closed, they would be moved to a different report. And I can, if with consent from the board, this is something that can be presented at our monthly workshops if that's what you'd like to see.
Sounds good to me.
Also, I would like to ask that if there are priorities that the board has moving forward, that's something that can be discussed during a workshop. Many oftentimes, the priorities are driven by the dates on the grant. But if there are particular projects that you wish to be moved in a different order, or if you wish for us to look for outside resources, I think this would be a wonderful opportunity to communicate that to staff.
You gonna do this in a workshop? Second?
If that's what the board wishes.
Okay. We won't do that in the next one in July, will we?
We can.
Can? Do the one in July?
That'll be fine.
Okay.
Go back to 25.
2025.
I thought there was a, yes.
Restroom facility options?
Yes, so speaking of restrooms, staff has looked at a couple of different options for, the only name I know for them is Princess Potties, because that's how it was
The
described.
one in the trailers?
Yes, and they have climate control, and they're on a trailer, so they can be moved in and out. And I just wanted to discuss with you some of the pricing options and some of the insurance requirements. And I apologize, I don't think I put the contract price in one of them, but I think the lowest price for a permanent, something that we would purchase would be probably around $80,000. But that's an option. That is under, in one of the brochures, the Portable Restroom Trailers LLC. I mean, we can look at different pricing and see if this is an option that you would like to consider. That's
a purchase price?
Yes.
Well, why can't we lease them?
Well, we can, that's another option. So, there's also a leasing option that comes out between, from what I can determine, between the monthly cost for, which would be two private restrooms trailer. So it'd basically be two restrooms. It's about $2,500 a month. The pump out, the weekly pump out is $295. So that's about $1,200 a month. And then I would strongly recommend that we cover these under our property insurance, because we are responsible for any damages to these portable restrooms. And that is probably going to be around $2,000 a year, but it would be prorated. Yes, sir.
Insurance?
Yes, sir.
You're gonna buy it, don't you? Don't you need to bid it out?
Yes, we were just talking about options. So this is just a lease price.
No, I
And
was
it's
talking
under,
about when you talked about 80 grand, when you buy one,
right,
gotta bid it out.
right.
Okay.
That's why I just threw out an approximate number.
Okay, well, I didn't know that you said anything about bidding it out. I was just reminding the board.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so on the lease part of all of that stuff that you just called out, what would be the annual amount of that for 12 months? Because the way things have been going, it'll be a very long time before we get this done.
So it looks like it's about $4,000 a month. So you know, yeah.
So
Probably
about
around
4,000 a month,
Yeah.
so that
It's
would
about
be
$50,000.
48,000. In 2 years, we could just about pay it off. And then we could use it at Mandalay or somewhere.
Why couldn't we get a local contractor to build one?
Get one?
Get a local contractor to build one on the trailer? Sounds like a lot cheaper to me.
Whatever we can do to get a bathroom.
The quote options would be seek a local vendor.
Yeah.
Okay. But you're saying those are 80,000?
About.
So you would spend 160?
No, sir, for it looks like for like a two bathroom unit,
Is 80?
somewhere around there.
And that'd be two.
No, it's two
I see
restaurants.
there's two, there's a men and women's.
Right,
But you're talking to have two of these units, or this is all that you would have there?
well,
And is this ADA?
so it would have to be ADA, yes.
Right.
So, and
Steps,
I think yeah, and there are some ramp options.
Right.
So, you mean for the Royal Restaurant? I'm sure we'd have to ask for a ramp for something that we would lease.
Right.
But as far as, there are several companies that manufacture these restrooms, and there are some coastal areas that this is all they use because they don't want to elevate their bathrooms, or they don't want to go through that process. They want to be able, or pay for, damages, or them be out of commission.
Right.
So they pull them out if there's a storm. And I know there are a lot of strong feelings about that, which I completely understand.
Instead of the pump out option, can they connect to the sewer service? Utility?
I believe so.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't have that problem.
Right.
If they were connected, or the
For-
need for such
For a
service.
more permanent option.
Right.
Right.
We need to get a price on building two of them on a trailer.
Right.
And then have a ramp there that we can pull right up beside it with a wheelchair ramp going up
For access.
to get on the deck.
How do you empty? How are they empty?
So either they have to be pumped out, or they would have to somehow be connected to the grinder pump.
So you would have to hire somebody to pump them out.
Well, so one of these options is that they would come and do this. So the Royal restrooms, the lease option, they would come and do that for you.
How
So,
often?
well, as often as you need it. So,
Well, obviously during some months, we wouldn't need it as much as other months.
correct. But I was, say, there's a pump out weekly. And it's not on the weekend, and it can't, holiday and emergencies is much more. But just one pump out visit is $295. And I don't really have a way to gauge how long it would take before we would need that. I don't know. I really don't know enough about it. But depending on what option y'all are interested in, we can bring back a full proposal.
I would agree with you. If there's a local vendor that could construct one of these, I'd be interested in cost. And if we could get a cost for purchase of one of these units with the ramp system, so that it's handicap access or ADA. And I would make that a motion, if that's wrong.
I'll second that motion. I'd rather
What's the motion?
keep the money at home if we could.
Right, so it's to get a proposal or cost for a local vendor to construct one of these units, and a cost for a purchase from these vendors, just the price. So
I think we should add to that motion that they would provide the services to empty it also.
Well, that wouldn't,
Well, I'd
the
say
sewage company right there.
we could hook up to
The sewage is already there.
Oh, it's one there?
Yeah, well, the
Okay,
whole
from the one that was there, okay.
You got water,
Wouldn't have that
power, and
come back.
everything right there.
I'm okay with that.
Okay, well, I'll bring something back as soon as I can.
Instead of having just two, one for the ladies and one for the men, have two each.
Yes, sir.
All right. Moving right along. Where are we now? 27, board to consider approval of revised policy definition of relatives and immediate family as agendaed by LaWanda Pemberton, County Administrator.
So we have revised the term for the nepotism, under the, we followed the state statute and are using the term relative. And it's all in your packet, the policy that we created. And we would continue to use the term immediate family for our bereavement policy, because the immediate family is more narrow than relative, because it includes aunts and uncles and cousins, and which is why we removed that definition from bereavement. So we would leave the bereavement policy alone, basically, and you would adopt a nepotism policy that follows the state statute and uses the term relative, which is broader.
When you say broader, you mean you
I mean,
your cousins, aunties, and all
Yes,
that kind of stuff?
yes.
So what you're saying then, with the immediate family, that description is not as detailed as the relatives. So under relative, there are more
Allowed.
people named.
Yes.
So so you want to use the immediate family for the sake of grievance leave, right?
Bereavement, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
So then if someone had a brother-in-law or sister-in-law that passed, they would have to use their vacation time. That's what you're saying?
No, ma'am, I think the only relatives that were taken out for bereavement were uncle, aunt, and first cousin, if I recall. That those were deliberately taken out because of the amount of bereavement leave that was being taken. So what we did was, so uncle, aunt, first cousin are included in the nepotism policy, but are not included in the bereavement policy. Unless you want to use that definition for everything.
Well,
I think the issue.
It's 3 days too, isn't it?
It is. And I think the impact that it was having was that multiple employees would take 3 days off all at the same time for bereavement leave of a cousin or an aunt or an uncle. And it would have a significant impact on the department. And so the board made a decision to remove those from the definition. So it's up to you if you want to use the relative definition for bereavement and for nepotism, or if you want to separate them.
Has it been an issue in the past? That policy, I mean,
Which one?
one you just received.
The bereavement policy? I think that, well, I'm not going to say that it was being abused because that's not what people were doing.
Yeah.
But
It's effective.
it does affect our operations, especially, if there's a cousin who is lost and multiple people take off 3 days to bereave. But honestly, we looked at policies in other counties and that wasn't included in their bereavement policy. So that was the recommendation we made to the board. But ultimately, if you want to leave it the same, we can revert back to the way it was before.
I think what I like is that relative, which is more
Specific.
it's more detailed, and it includes sister-in-law and brother-in-laws, that would apply to the nepotism policy.
Right.
But the immediate family definition would apply to the bereavement policy. That way, what do y'all do, Angela? Do you know the school board, what?
We're union, so we have to negotiate it, but it is, the bereavement policy is, more restrictive than what I'm hearing here tonight.
So this would be more in line with state statute, is that my understanding in this?
The nepotism policy, yes.
The new one?
The new one, yes. And it doesn't change, it's just the wording is more clear.
Sure.
Right.
And that's staff's recommendation to go with these terms?
Well, that was the request, so I have no problem with it at all. If it makes it more clear for people, then I think that's perfectly fine.
All right. Motion.
Sorry.
You have a motion?
Motion, yes, sir.
I have a second.
Second.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Okay, we go to number 28. The board to consider approval of agreement with IWORQ for permitting software as agendaed by the county administrator.
So this was, the permitting software was included in the budget this year. Staff has looked at numerous companies to see what would be a good fit for our county and for our building department. And there are a lot of choices, but we are recommending this particular company because there are adjacent counties that utilize that are very similar to Taylor County. And it seemed to have the quickest turnaround. It can be fully implemented in 60 days. And financially, it was the best, we thought was the best option for Taylor County. However, we also know that we are facing some potentially, devastating financial times. So I got a quote or an agreement for a 3-year agreement, and the fiscal impact is around $14,000 a year. If you just want a 1-year agreement, where you would not be subjected to early termination fees, then it would be $23,690. So I just wanted to give the board some options. Now, all that being said, if the tax amendment passes, then you can certainly fund the building department and this permitting department with fees. You would have to raise your fees some to make sure that the building department was 100% funded. And we've talked about that before, but I can't imagine not having a building department or not issuing permits. So I think there's some statutory requirements that we have to meet. This seemed to be the best possible solution that we found, and we give people the opportunity to, if they wish, to request permits from home. And they could do it 100% online, from what I understand, which I think would not only modernize our building department, but make it so people didn't have to come to the office unless they wanted to.
Did you say that the TAT is 60 days?
60, yes, they said they could.
I would like to see us be able to issue permits in a lot less time than that.
No, that's not what I mean. I mean that this permitting software would be completely implemented in 60 days.
Oh.
It would only
So what
take
would the turnaround time be?
for issuing a permit.
I mean, yeah, would it speed that process up?
Well, you would still have to go through the review. But I think that anytime that you can take a manual process completely out of a department, it's going to make us more efficient. And so I don't want to promise something I'm not absolutely sure about. But I think it has the tendency to speed things up because you would not have to wait in line. I mean, but you still have to go through the, every process that you normally would.
Okay, so the advantages are then, you could apply from home.
Yes.
And what's another advantage?
So, you can print your own permit. So contractors, if they have a group of permit applications that they want to submit, they can set up a profile with their license and everything and do everything from their office and not have to come into our office unless they wish to. So, and it also gives people the ability to search for issued permits. So rather than coming to our office or calling our office, is my permit ready? Is this ready? Is that ready? They'll get a notification when it's issued. So I would think that, depending on how tech savvy contractors or citizens may be, it gives them another option.
Do they not get a notification now when their permit's ready?
They would, but it may not be, this would be automated. So instead of someone having to call or send an email, it would be an automated process.
And would have to come into the office. You can do it from the bedroom.
That's my understanding. And it's got a automatic routing of applications to the appropriate departments. So it takes paper completely out of the equation. And they'll also backload all of our existing permit data. So when we have a public records request or someone is looking for a permit that may have been issued years ago, it will all be in that software. And then, of course, people can already pay with their credit card, but they have to do it over the phone. This gives them the option, if they wish, that they can pay by credit card through the software.
So are you saying then that aside from the convenience of this, that you're recommending that we do this because?
So there is state statute that has certain requirements. And we currently meet some of the requirements, but there are some that we have not met yet. So especially with some of the latest legislation, we have to be able to give people an option to look at permits that are issued or search for permits that are issued that we don't currently do now.
Okay. So the reason I'm asking all these questions is that, this is a lot of money.
It is.
Considering that we're going to be short with our budget this year. And this is another recurring expense.
Yes.
So I just need to know in my mind that this is well worth it and there's going to be added benefit to it to offset this cost that will have to come out of the general fund, which I don't like taking out of the general fund at all.
Right. So, well, not only will we meet the statutory requirements, and that's important. We have to do that. So our current system, whereas people can submit a permit application online and we can email it to them and they can call and pay by phone, it's not 100% online. And so I do believe that we're going to have to comply with that at some point.
Okay, the statutory requirements that you're referring to are what?
So, I'm sorry. Okay, so we must post each permit application type and continually update application status online through issuance and allow electronic submission of completed applications. So that is House Bill 803. So that one is still under some review, but I think the biggest issue is that we have to make this process available online.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. You can be in Georgia and do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the application.
I'm not convinced it's
Yeah.
worth what it's gonna cost us.
$14,000 a year, 3 years.
Well, the only other option is we would have to somehow enhance our process to meet the statutory requirements now.
Is that hire somebody else?
I think that would be, I don't know. I'm not even sure how we would accomplish that as far as moving, from a paper system to something online.
Mr. Chairman, I believe Mr. Bishop weighed in on this process also. Do you have any elaboration on your letter as far as venues and the like?
Oh, yeah, at the very end,
I see the otherwise.
yeah. What did I say in that?
Well,
I closed up because I was ready to go home.
I blame you. I'm obliged.
How much each year would it cost to have a contract governed by the laws of the state of Florida?
I think there was concerns
Yeah.
about, the laws of Utah
Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah.
and how much each year it would cost.
Right.
The like. That's why I wanted to ask you, Mr. Council, I'm sorry to interrupt your packing session. Please accept my condolences and apologies. At 9:30 in the evening, I don't blame you.
Yeah, it's really, yeah, I'm a venue man. Y'all all know that. And I think that if a company is wanting to do business with us, then they should, if we're doing they're doing business with us. I know we have to do it with regard to grants, we have to, they won't mess with us. And they don't want to agree with us, but on other things, if they want to do business with us, they ought to agree to venue and also be governed by the laws of the state of Florida. That's what I was saying.
Yes, sir. Is that a possibility?
If I could just read the state statute. So this was the latest guidance I've seen, and that's 55379 subsection 1B. So the core online permitting requirements are retained. The department must post each permit application type with all required attachment drawings, post and continually update application status online through issuance, and allow electronic submission of completed applications, which we do that now, but we are not updating online the applications. And that is the new statutory guidance that I'm a little bit concerned about. And that was effective July 1st. So we do allow electronic submission. We don't have a fillable form, but the status tracking is only done, either through email or on the phone.
Well, of course, mine is, Commissioner Newman was asking, mine was just a question. That you could, ask them.
So we may
They wanted the
have,
business.
I know that there's a uniform form requirement that will be triggered, but not until July 1st, 2027.
So this won't go until next year.
No, that's just the uniform provision. That's the form that that I think DBPR will issue.
Do we have information from our neighbors that might give a good review or a not a good review or?
Jefferson and Dixie County utilize this software and I think are happy with it. Madison, maybe Hamilton use a different platform that we looked at, but it was much more expensive. And we felt like this would be a better option for us.
Have they used this in the 3-year plan or just 1 year at a time?
No, that was just my bright idea because I was afraid of if there was an issue with revenue, we would basically have to pay the contract anyway. Whether there would, I did have them draw up a 1-year contract just in case, but it's more expensive, which,
Is that about $10,000 difference
Yes, sir.
for 3 years? What do we get?
It's not going to reduce, personnel, no. But I think it would make people's jobs easier, especially for public records requests and things like that. And it would make it easier. I think we would be more efficient, but I mean, we can try to create a fillable form if that's, and try to comply that way. I just don't know how to give the status updates and that is required by this statute.
Is there any possibility they may change their venue requirements?
I think they already did, didn't they, Conrad?
Did they change it to
They
Florida?
took out, I believe they took out that section.
Didn't see that update. I
I don't think
apologize.
they did anything, did they?
I believe they
I think
took
they
out
ignored it.
section. I believe they took out that section completely.
Yeah.
And they added, the non-appropriations clause.
Oh, is that the one where they said, okay, well, we're okay if you just go to federal court? Is that the one? Or is that, that's a different one, right?
That's a different one.
No, we're not gonna go to federal court.
Let's not go to federal court.
No. That was one where I told you, it said that it was a definite no, right?
Yes,
Okay.
that's not this.
I'll say a definite no in here, just for the record.
And another plus that we saw with this is it does track contractor licensure. It's an automatic process. So we don't have to keep up with that manually, which is helpful.
So it would help staff, better in performing their job. But,
Yes, ma'am, I
but,
believe so.
and that's good, but as long as it will help our citizens who complain all the time about our permitting.
I understand, and I do.
Department.
Well, I think that if there was a percentage of people who were able to bypass standing at the counter, or being in line, or having to wait, or having to call and check on status, or wait for an email, I think that would be a benefit to our contractors and help us be more efficient. But, I'm a person who loves things like that. So that was very attractive to me. But it would not take away the ability of people to come in to our building department and do everything, or we may have to help them fill out the application. But I think that it would definitely be a benefit to our contractors if they could just bypass the manual process completely.
Well, it also would be, if you done it online, if someone had a problem with trying to fill out an application, someone that's tech savvy can help them.
Sure.
You don't have to come.
They could come in the office and we would help. Absolutely. Right. I mean, and there's going to be a percentage of our citizens who want to do that anyway, just the same way, it was a little bit of a process to add credit card processing. And everybody doesn't want to pay with a credit card, but those who do really, really enjoy it. It's just a process that we have to go through.
So what is the funding source to pay for this?
So it would be from, it's budgeted currently, and it would be budgeted through the MSTU like it normally is. I just think that we need to look at our permits to see if we need to bump up our permit fees to make sure that we can cover everything in that department without, if we need to, without using taxpayer dollars. And I think we're pretty close now with the number of permits that we are processing.
The budgeted amount cover just the $23,000, or would it cover, is there enough there to cover the whole term of the 3-year agreement?
I don't think we can do that I don't think we can pay for multiple years.
At one time.
It's
But you could pay
normally
for a
per
year.
year that we pay. But we actually budgeted quite a bit more than what this came in as, because the original software that we were looking at was much more expensive than this package.
Well, why don't we try it for a year, see how it works?
So do you want to, so then my next question is, do you want to pay the 23,690 for 1 year? Or do you want to sign a 3-year agreement, understanding that we'll pay the penalty if we end our agreement, which we can always do?
And how much is the penalty?
It's basically, you have to pay you would have to pay the full contract amount anyway.
So I would say, let's just try it for a year and see if this is a real benefit to us and a real benefit to the community. And if it's worth the cost.
Do you need a motion on that?
That's my motion.
All right, go ahead. I'll put it. You be chair. I'll say,
Okay.
we need to move it out. We need to move on.
Okay, all in favor?
Okay,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, got it.
okay. The next item. Comments and concerns from the public for non-agenda items. Anyone from the public? Going once, going twice. Okay, we'll close that one. Information item on the board. Yeah. Mr. Newman?
No, sir.
Meeting adjourned.
I do have one more item, I'm sorry, if I could, information, county administrator informational items was not on the agenda. I did want to notify the board that our building official has, stated that he would be resigning. We will advertise for his position internally and externally. He would be willing to work until February if necessary, but we will start recruiting for, our building official. So it's a multiple month process normally to fill that if anyone is qualified. And then, of course, you have to go through training and DBPR has to agree, but we will start advertising right away.
When was the last date for our engineer?
He has not given me a final date. He is taking his vacation time. He's been working part-time for quite some time.
Good job.
You are the last party in the conference.
Yeah, well.
Hey.
I'll do some research on Centerville 4-H.
Okay, let's do it.
I did.